Morning, everybody. Welcome to DK64 Randomizer.com's Season 4 Blitz Tournament. Tonight, we've got a round 2 matchup between Kilvereis and VioletPumpkin. VioletPumpkin, I almost said VioletPumpkin. That's someone completely different. I am your host, K-Man, and tonight I am joined by none other than Mumbo. Welcome, Mumbo.
Greetings. How are you?
Doing great. It's a little earlier for me, but it's great time as any to be watching the round 2 here. I'm hoping it's just as exciting as round 1. I think round 1 was pretty best way to describe it is it had hands. There were a lot of like really interesting round 1s kind of played out from everyone. And I'm hoping we get something similar for round 2.
I think so. I think Season 4 is the season of providing content, and it's just endless content, no matter what kind of seed you get. Casino, it's content. Jet, it's content. Normal seed, it's content, because the game's just good.
Absolutely, and with the higher watt count that you generally get compared to Season 3, I think it just means there's more opportunities for some cursed checks to be out there. I don't know if you have any check in particular that you like to see, but I'm always a fan when I see Doga 2.
Whenever Kilvereis is racing, some of my favorite checks are Training Grounds Dirt, Training Grounds Cranky, maybe Creme Isle Dirt. Big fan of those.
I can't imagine why those are the ones you selected. But speaking of which, we can talk a little bit about the start here. It looks like they have a DK Tiny starting with Diving, Gorilla Gon, and Second Slam.
This has got to be one of the best starts I've ever seen. I think out of every combination of Kongs you can get, DK Tiny is by far the best, because you get the best of both worlds with the speed in DK, you get the flipping action with Tiny, the gripping action with DK, get the slope climbs with Tiny.
I gotta agree. I think a lot, first off, with just the Kongs in general, like you get the most utility with everything that you said. Fastest movement with DK, slope climbing with Tiny. Something that I think kind of goes underrated. I mean, one obvious thing is Diving is fantastic. I think easily the best potion in the game, so you love to start with that. It's an extra lobby as well. And then one tiny little minor thing you might not think about, when you start with the Second Slam, you don't have one of your hint slots locked by that tell you where both the slams are. So it's almost kind of like starting with an extra hint slot as well.
I agree with that fully. Yeah, what you just said about Slam is a big deal too, because in Season 4, we use dose doors, and with dose doors, sometimes you don't actually get to read all your hints with some of those doors locked by moves. And having that one extra hint slot can really prove useful when maybe you're only regularly seeing 30 out of your 35 hints.
Yeah, it's true. Every hint matters. I would say the season is kind of balanced right on that cusp where, you almost need every hint to just sort of like piece everything together. You don't get a lot of redundancies there. So every hint matters, and especially if those doors where you might not even get access to all your doors, you want every hint to matter.
For sure. And it's something that you did touch on a little bit with Diving start in Season 4. Since in Season 4 we start with Key 2, they have access to an extra lobby. So now that they're off, let's see which level they decide to enter first with 3 options.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if either of them decide to peek all the lobbies just to see what their levels are. Or if they just decide first level I can enter is the one I'm going to enter. It doesn't look like they even get a starting golden banana, and we already see divergence here.
Yeah, and see, this is already what I like about the route that VioletPumpkin's doing is by running to level 1 first, you get to see that item.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. Like, you never know when you're accidentally going to miss a really important item there, and even though Kilvereis right now might just straight up enter castle without that grape shooter. We don't have Linky to start with right now, but you never know. That could be like a blast or a coconut gun that you're missing on that first check. So a bit of a risky play, but we'll see how it ends up working out.
Pumpkin's going for the blind trophy flip here. And without Shockwave, you're really committing to this bonus barrel. But it is a GB, and early GBs are very valuable for getting into your levels.
Right, and especially with like CLO, I've noticed that like your early GBs and being able to enter those levels, they're just going to come sooner. And so like those first GB barriers matter a lot more. You're not going to have you might not have a lot of great options when it comes to your first couple of GBs. So I'm kind of a fan of making sure you get up to a healthy like 10 to 15 GBs before you know what the rest of the B lockers are. So getting this early bonus barrel, I think is going to be pretty advantageous.
That's also another interesting decision by Pumpkin is peeking that castle B locker and not going for it, even though she can get in right now. So she's going to be the first to see level 4.
That's kind of interesting. I mean, like, Castle's a pretty good level as far as, like, hints go. Did I just peek wrong? Did Kilvereis see Diddy on the Castle shop there, or am I crazy?
I wasn't looking.
Oh, okay,
I was looking at Pumpkin, but yeah, so Kilvereis is just doing his climb. And when you got DK Tiny, I fully support this climb here, just getting your 2 Sphere 0 medals. DK's and Tiny's medals in Castle are the 2 medals that are most likely to be required in a seed, just by virtue of being some of the only Sphere 0 medals in the game.
Yeah. And another thing to notice, there was a potion peaked on the Creme Isle. It was a yellow potion behind the coconut cage. So another one of DK's moves going to be locked here behind coconut gun.
Probably not going to be coconut itself, if I had to guess. If I had to wager.
Probably not. Otherwise, the devs are going to have some explaining to do on that front.
We did see a Clam Wath, I think far left Clam Wath on Kilvereis' side, so expect to see Mini in our future.
Yeah, I'm already not a fan of all these key 3 hints that we're getting. Yeah. I feel like we might be in here for a long evening, Mumbo, if those key 3 hints are anything to read into.
What's really concerning too is you're getting them early. If you're getting key 3 hints early when key 3 doesn't actually give you any value in the seed until the very end, that means you're probably going to be seeing a lot more key 3 hints later.
Right.
Trying to get your most important early hints early, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the other problem about that is that if the other keys are just like very lightly locked, that just increases the surface area where like your key 3 items may be. And with key 3 not locking your access to Helm, like those items can basically be anywhere.
What were the other levels we had seen? We see Aztec and what was the other level?
Factory was level 1.
Factory and Aztec, and we don't really have any hints in Factory or Aztec yet, do we? I guess we have a Llama Temple hint, but we don't see no eyes on Blast.
No, I've seen a lot of Galleon.
Yeah.
But still no idea where Galleon might be, but also Galleon, well, we do start with diving, so seeing an earlier Galleon might be more worthwhile. Usually, like, if you don't start with diving, you see Galleon, you're like, that's the last level I want to enter. But with a couple of Galleon hints here, I feel like we need the supplementing items, but I don't know. If we see an earlier Galleon, we might see an early dive into it just to see what you can get. Oh, Aztec boss defeated. Did I speak Doga 2 into existence? We'll have to see.
That'd be kind of crazy with no Chunky in sight, no Hunky in sight, and that being probably one of your earliest bosses that you can access. So we might be seeing some important progression there.
Could be. We don't exactly know which boss is going to be on there yet and whether it requires barrels or not. Could just be a simple puff toss or cutout. So
I feel like we're going to go that direction if it's a hint you're getting this early and Aztec is available this early.
Yeah, it's very likely true. At the very least, the runners will try to peek the boss if possible, and I'm sure we'll quickly see whether we can take care of it or not. But it seems we also have a Castle CBs to 1. So I'm curious. I don't know if they've got either of them gotten the tiny medal yet to see if that gets them key 1 for access for level 2. But
I think that would make sense with not enough GBs to get into either your other peak levels. You got to get your progression from somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know if you got. It looks like it was 7 GBs to enter Aztec. Aztec would be the level I'm eyeing right now to be able to enter, just because like there's 5 quick hints that are all available, all quote unquote Sphere 0, which means that they're probably going to be earlier hints. But if you don't have the GBs, then you're just kind of stuck wherever you're able to go.
Yeah, Aztec has really good access to your hints, but a lot of the actual checks you can do in Aztec tend to be locked inside the temples, and there's key 1 for Kilvereis on the Tiny Metal. A lot of your hints tend to be a lot of your actual techs tend to be inside the temples, and you really want to have guns for those.
Right. It's kind of nice. You are correct that like it gets you a lot of information, but you don't have a lot of options on on actual checks there. But I would be surprised if Kilvereis. Yeah, I'd be surprised if Kilvereis doesn't at least peek what level 2 here is. And there's that galleon.
We were talking about it.
Yeah, I'm a little like on the fence now that I think about it, because like your hinted item is Caverns to 3 and the treasure chest, neither of which you can do right now. You can get 2 hints. You can see all the shops, and you can do like the 2-door, but we don't have any instruments, and we don't have coconut shooter, so
yeah, still a lot of this level off limits.
Yeah, so it's kind of in the same realm, I guess, as Aztec was, where you can, well, not even in the sense that you can get hints, but rather like you can just peek a couple of your hints and then get 1 or 2 checks here, but there's actually not going to be a lot that you can cover here.
I like what Kilvereis is doing. I think kind of one of your main instincts is right when you enter Galleon, you want to go to Cranky because you kind of do the caverns area first, but we don't have... Oh, we do have Cranky, just kidding.
We have Cranky. We don't have Candy.
We don't have Candy, so yeah. I probably would visit Cranky here. But
yeah, I'd be peeking at least. I'd be peeking at least all the shops here. You never know, like, when you're going to run to a shopkeeper, like, the difference between did you peek those shops versus did your opponent peek those shops? You'd hate to leave something that your opponent peeked, found, and then when you both find that shopkeeper, that they have the advantage of knowing which shop to go back to. And speaking of shopkeepers,
yeah, Violet's doing the beat Kilvereis strategy, and it pays off immediately. Kilvereis is going to leave off that training grounds until pretty late.
Yeah, and that gets her key 5. 1 more powerful keys gets you access to 2 levels, so that's going to be 2 more lobbies that you can peek, at least 2 more hints out of the lobbies, and then maybe even a better level to enter.
Yeah. Maybe Forest, because we can buy Lanky in Forest. And we have both the shopkeeps in Forest, so don't have to worry about that.
True, so that's going to be, I think, a big advantage there for Violet. We'll see if Kilvereis ends up pulling anything here out of Galleon. Like I said, there's not a lot of checks, maybe some hints as well that you could pull out. I did see he saw Japes Diddy in front of the cage, so that's a pretty free wath.
We find Forest, too. Pain Train, wath, by the way.
Pain Train?
Oh, that's the Castle DK minecart. You haven't heard?
Oh,
Pain Train?
I have not heard the term Pain Train before. But, you know, it's one of those names that once you say it, it makes perfect sense. But,
yeah, that one's a little far away with no coconut, no grab. But Violet is making her way. Ooh.
Might be a little closer than you think if you think that yellow vial on Creme Isle could be your grab.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Pretty solid odds there. I mean, it's a 1 in 4 as soon as you find coconut. We're peeking a potion here on the Mills dirt. How are the coins?
I mean, with
Castle coins are okay.
Yeah, they're okay. Galleon really doesn't have a lot of coins for DK or Tiny.
Right.
So I gotta imagine that Kilvereis is probably not feeling a very full wallet here. I think Violet's probably gonna get quite a bit more cash. There's quite a few more coins available, especially for Tiny, but even a bit for DK in Forest. Kilvereis, though, sniffing out maybe some message in the Ethereum somehow reached to his brain, decided, I don't feel that good about this Isle Shops. I better give it a peek here. So he might be hot on Violet's footsteps soon enough.
Right. I'm just now realizing I don't think Violet has the buy Lanky and Forest hints. I think we only saw that on Kilvereis' side.
Yeah, but you gotta imagine you gotta be checking your shops.
Sure. I was just wondering why she might have gone to Mills first, but I think she's gonna be creeping up on Lanky right here.
Yeah, I didn't see. Did she peek Funkies yet, or is it?
No.
No.
She hasn't been to that side yet. Yeah, I think she doesn't have the hint. And that makes sense because Kilvereis got key 1 and went to level 2, and I think that's where that hint was.
Right.
But anyways, Kilvereis now making his way into Forest, and he does have the hint. So I expect to see him hitting the shops first thing. He did get eyes on the Chunky hint too. Chunky, where was he?
I think it was Japes found by someone. I wonder if Chunky could be that free Diddy item.
Yeah, we see Kilvereis running straight to the Funky shop, and then if he doesn't find Lanky here, we're going straight to the Mushroom side. Even though Mills is very powerful, you really want to go to Mills early during the nighttime. Testing Foolish.
Yeah, a little harder though when it's red slam locked. Like you don't get that DK barn, which you love to get for density. As well as when you have DK Tiny, you don't even have the. I think that's one of the few backflipper grabber combinations that can't reach the rafters. If you want to do that out of logic, so
any flipper grabber can reach rafters.
Oh, okay. I'll believe you. I've tried multiple.
It's hard.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if DK Tiny is the hardest because Tiny doesn't flip as high as Diddy does, and DK I don't think grabs as high. But if it's possible, it might be possible, and maybe one of them will prove us wrong here soon.
And Kilvereis buying Lanky here in the Cranky shop. Violet's doing the route where you climb up first and then drop down, and I tend to like this route. And I guess Lanky doesn't exactly help much up here. You can kick slide up to the top and do the Lanky thing, so she might be having to backtrack for that.
Yep.
Well, already we have eyes on all our Kongs.
Yeah, and that confirmed what I thought I glimpsed, which was I think Diddy's on that Cranky shop in Castle. Yeah. I don't quite remember who buys him though. It was just kind of a glimpse on my screen. But yeah, I'm a fan of this routing too. You kind of wish you had Chunky for it, but
yeah,
you climb up and then just drop down to your 2 splats right afterward.
It is a big point of contention in Season 4, I think, with the hint door at the top of the mushroom and crowns now in the pool. It's very valuable. It's a lot more valuable to climb mushroom without Chunky or Rocket Barrel than it was in the past. But I think there's still some devout non-climbers out there. But I say propaganda, I think climbing is always good.
Yeah, definitely like more cautious play styles like mine. I'm definitely climbing mushroom every time. I'm expecting to get like the key hint at the top there.
Oh yeah.
Although getting Diddy's bot by or Diddy's bot in Castle is probably not that key hint you want to see, but
sure.
You never know. I've seen some valuable potions on that battle and that splat. I would say like Season 3, it was definitely like very viable to just skip climbing unless you were hinted something in the exterior or interior, but in Season 4, I think it's very, very difficult to get away with that.
Violet finally taking the glimpse of Lanky. Probably just going to take Warp 5 back up and go do the O-stand checks.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Kilvereis didn't go to Owltree. You got that grape shooter right outside the Japes lobby entrance.
I mean, he's definitely going to go back.
Yeah, you're right there in Mushroom. I guess if there was any time to do it, I thought it would have been then. But I'm sure he'll make his way back there soon enough.
I think Lanky's medal is possible here, right? With Grape, but no Slam. Let me check that one.
I got like a handy dandy doc of all the things.
Right.
Here. Yes, just with Grapes alone, that should be 80. So Lanky should definitely be able to get his medal. I think there's only 20 that's technically locked by Slam. And O-stand, I guess, as well. But that's hardly a requirement when you have Tiny in your inventory.
Did Kilvereis just enter and pick up the coins and then not look at the... Or did he look at it earlier?
He might have gotten a glimpse at it. I know, like, I end up... like, sometimes I could just get a corner of what's in that area. But sometimes you don't get a good look, and then you're just like, I don't want to turn back. And plus, sometimes those race jitters, you just end up saying, well, guess I didn't get a good peek at that. But yeah, it looks like Kilvereis finally making his way over the owl tree. It looks like Violet already finished her trip in the owl tree and is heading back to Castle. I'm
What can
surprised
we do
with
in Castle? Why are we going back to Castle?
to buy Diddy, probably, if it was Lanky that buys Diddy.
That would make sense. Yeah,
that's probably what she's doing. Headed right to the 3 warp.
Don't hit an owl area either. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. Just getting all your Kongs as soon as possible because, like, your Kongs will lock like roughly a fifth of the game, maybe a little less, obviously, because there's a bunch of Kong agnostic checks. But your Kongs tend to be your biggest items, and even if they're not logically required, they're just going to get you so many GBs that you need for that 64 B locker at the end.
Right. It, at the very least, is absolutely an accelerator for getting the 64. And usually whoever gets the Kongs first tends to have a massive advantage, but who knows? There can always be a casino that ends up, even the guy who gets the first Kongs doesn't end up winning his round 1 race against Kilvereis or anything, but...
That's how it goes sometimes.
That's how it goes sometimes. But I wouldn't be surprised if they end up picking up Diddy. It looks like...
VioletPumpkin's getting the key 1, too, that she missed on the first go-round.
That's kind of interesting she didn't end up getting that, especially with Castle CBs hinted to 1. But at the very least, she gets to do a couple more of these surroundings checks with the other Kongs. I'll be interested to see if Kilvereis, he doesn't decide to stay around, just ends up wanting to go to the next level. This is what I would do, just try and get as many hints as possible. Aztec's a great level for getting more information. You have that grape shooter as well, so you have access to Tiny Temple. You already start with diving, so there's some good density there.
Yeah, I think they're both just making the correct decision given the respective situations. Because since Violet doesn't have key 1 yet, she's gonna, and she doesn't know which Kong has it either.
Right.
She's gonna be spending her time. You want the lanky bananas in here, and if you're coming in here for lanky bananas, you might as well do the checks.
Yeah, it'll just be interesting if there's any sort of advantage that Violet ends up finding here. I kind of spoke it into existence, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what this clear vial ends up being, but if this ends up being something, this like a shockwave or maybe even third slam, it could be a big advantage here.
Can you steal Aztec Diddy Metal with no peanuts? I think you can, actually. You can if you make your way into the Tiny Temple and swim. And you can grab some of the... what level is Aztec?
Aztec right now is level 4.
It's level 4, so it's you've got the slam for it. So you can steal some of the bunches on the tongue, even without peanuts.
Yeah, I know you can get the first bunch pretty easily.
Ooh, that's the red slam for Pumpkin, which is really strong in Forest.
Yeah, I don't know if she'll end up going back. I mean, nothing's really pointing us back to Forest. But you know, if we end up getting a wayward, you know, Thornvine Barn Way of the Horde, she'll be equipped, and Kilvereis will kind of have to hunt out and figure out where that slam could be.
And it is
especially since we're not going to get a
slam.
Yeah, especially since we're not going to get a slam hint.
Right.
So you have to hope that extra hint ends up pointing to that slam if we do need it. But that could be a painful search.
Our Violet's going to be finishing up the Tiny Metal, and she's going to get her key 1. The question is, do you stay and finish off some of your half-completed medals? Well, finish off the Lanky Medal, or do you just kind of go to level 2? I think I would finish it, because you just drop down to the funky area, the lower underground.
Right. I think it's a quick... I think it is a quick medal that you can finish for at the very least the golden banana, and then you also have like if there's anything in the funky shop that you want to buy, any more like golden bananas, then that just routes in pretty easily. And you have
this one tiny colored banana that VioletPumpkin missed is so mean because she has no idea where it is. It could have been any of the singles on the way up. Oh man,
it's usually right outside Cranky Shop. Like if you use warp 3, there's like one that's directly behind you, and if you know you're going down or up, it's one that's very easy to miss.
Right. Oh, she keeps going back. Like, do I finish tiny metal? Do I do lanky metal first? And that's so rude.
Yeah.
Does anybody know where it is? I didn't see it. She's just gonna finish the lanky metal before spending time on that tiny metal.
Oh, that's really rough. If she can't find that, she might have to wait and come back, or she might retread the whole castle grounds again.
She's just gonna come in here and get the 5 above the chasm, or not. Just finish off the lanky metal first.
Yeah. Looks like we got our first fight phase hint, which was multiple chunky phases. I am Mumbo, I am quaking in my boots. The number of chunky phase hints, the number of solo key 3 hints.
I think that's fun.
We could be having a pretty deeply locked seed here.
I'm totally enwrapped by where this tiny CB is. She's checking the boss before doing it because, look, I don't even hate this play. Checking the boss is not that slow, but just I can imagine the panic of not knowing where that color banana is.
Right. And the gut punch is going to be when you realize that is the key one.
But hey, maybe there's an unhinted item here. Who knows?
I do like the idea, though. You could go into Lanky Mausoleum, and you can do that with Grapes and DK. Ooh, multipath here.
Big hint.
Chunky Lanky Diddy.
There's all our phases. There's basically all our keys except for the key 1 and key 5 we already found. And there's candy on the boss. Ooh, that's crazy too, because that actually does... that could be the key 1 item. And if you don't already know where key 1 is, that makes sense. And that was Daga 1, right? Just the Aztec version? Yeah.
If DK was able to enter, so that would be Daga 1. Especially since they don't have Chunky, so they couldn't enter if it was Doga 2. So that you could be thinking that's your key 1 item, although like with the levels available to you, like Forest, there's no candy. I guess maybe you might be thinking Factory Candy could sell it. Oh, then there's key 1.
But she does have that knowledge of where candy is, and I don't think we've seen anything important on a candy shop yet, but that is good knowledge.
That is true. I don't know if we've peaked any potions on candy quite yet. But if we end up peaking, like, I'm trying to think, because usually your shopkeepers are either like, they end up being on all the paths or they end up being on like no path.
Right.
I was starting to think like, oh, maybe Treasure Room could have your like barrels, which could get you candy, but until we start seeing vials being purchased on candy, I think it's kind of hard to tell.
Deciding if we like Galleon or not. I think we just got to make a decision. Pick one. Either's fine. Meanwhile, Kilvereis has done his regular clear of Aztec and is now stealing the Diddy medal here.
Yeah. Not able to find anything else. He did end up finding the giant chunky barrel, ended up having a potion on it, so he has that information, but the only thing he'll be leaving here with is whatever we end up getting on this potion or on this medal, which is coconut.
That's big. That's
not just one, but
two.
Yep, not just one, but two potions there. Coconuts is great. You'd love to take that back to Galleon as well for a couple extra hints, especially with Lanky. And you can get that yellow vial, which if that's grabbed, that gets you right into the minecart.
Yeah, exactly. I think that really kind of gives you a really good idea of Peanuts too, because if Coconut's on a big path, then Peanuts has got to be on the same or bigger big path. And we already saw that Treasure Room had a Diddy phase item there, so I think we're gonna be seeing Peanuts in the Treasure Room.
I would agree with that hint. The only interesting thing is which check in Treasure Room is it going to be? We don't have Spring, we don't have Balloon, we don't have Minion.
Yeah.
So
we do have Far Left Clam hinted Wath, but with double hint protection, you can't always be sure.
Yeah, I always lean on the side of I expect double hint protection to kind of work until I am proven beyond a shadow of a doubt it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it could be that one, but it could also just be something else in Treasure Room. If it's on any of the gold towers, you might just think, I'll just do the other gold towers, see if that ends up being the major item.
And this is Aztec boss that Kilvereis is working on right now. We've already seen one Barrels boss, so there's only 3 more bosses here that we can't do.
Yep. And this boss is hinted Wath, so 100% Kilvereis is at least going to peek what this boss is. We'll just have to see whether we need barrels coming back to it or not. Looks like a purple vial. You'd love to see Mini Monkey on this.
Yeah, I think we might. Just given how early that hint came, it must be an early item.
Ooh, but it is
a barrels
also
boss.
barrels locked.
Yeesh. We don't have any eyes on barrels, do we?
No, other than like whether you think Candy is leading to a lot of stuff and you're thinking the Mega Path, but I like the idea that that's Peanuts better. So I don't think we really have a great read on where barrels might be.
I think, I mean, if we take the most obvious route, that boss is Mini for Peanut in the Clam, then I think we might be looking for another big path item in barrels somewhere.
Yeah, or what tends to was at least burnt me more than once is that your barrels is actually in treasure room. You have to get it, then go back to Aztec, then go back for Peanuts.
Right. Oh man, that'd be so rude too. That is so possible, but would be so rude.
Anyway, we see Kilvereis entering Factory for the first time, and Violet, on the other hand, is going back through Forest, just trying to take any advantage she can get with the slam that she found. And we see that Horde is way of the Horde.
Have we peeked our helm pad yet?
I don't think either of them have, but I might be wrong about that.
Could just be for that.
That is true.
Just gonna go ahead and leave that one behind. Never come back, hopefully. Meanwhile, VP's doing the all the red slam checks that Kilvereis isn't gonna be able to see for a little while at least. See if this pays off. None of this is hinted, but it's just good density.
Well, another thing that I kind of like about this is, I guess it depends on how you view yourself in the race. If you think that you need to get an advantage over your opponent and you find something that you think your opponent hasn't found, it's good to chase that, because that it's more like, that's how you expand your probability of like being able to get a race and get a meaningful advantage. So I don't hate the play either. It just all kind of depends on the dice roll of does your super slam get you to anything?
Right. It's getting you some GBs though.
That's true.
GBs,
like I said, there's
fantastic.
There's great density, and if maybe if you're me, you're happy to come back with Diddy and Lanky to do Dark Rafters instead of failing your DK tiny jump 5 or 6 times.
Is it Kilvereis a mid-game number doer? He is.
He is. Now, I've heard that it actually takes a very skilled chat to be able to count to 16. Do you think we have it in us?
I think so. I believe in them.
I want to believe so too, but I'm gonna have to double check their work here and see if they get to it.
It's a good try.
We almost had it. One duplicate 3, but other than that, it's pretty coordinated today. Question is, can they beat Kilvereis to 16? We got a wayward 12 there. We'll see them get to at least 16. 16! Hey, there we go.
I guess VioletPumpkin just hadn't come and cleared this side of Forest. I guess, yeah, like you were saying, the thought was she got Lanky and could immediately buy Diddy, so ditched her Forest clear. But now she's being pretty thorough in this Forest, getting the Forest Tiny Metal and seeing if that's going to pay off.
Ooh, Tiny Mausoleum way of the Horde.
Oh, we were almost just there too.
Yeah, almost peek that from if you had to find your wayward tiny bunch on there.
You can do with DK too.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. If you end up finding oranges, you might. I'd be interested to see if either of them decide to try to do it without twirl.
You don't need oranges if you have DK. Just kick across the hands. And I'm sure both of them are very comfortable
I'm
with
thinking
that.
if you don't have the slam, right?
Right.
But yeah, like you might just pick that out right now because yeah, all you need is the slam and DK kicks, and you can get across there. But I would expect Kilvereis to be able to do that.
Sure. Now Kilvereis hasn't gone back for that yellow vial on a coconut cage, has he? No, he hasn't. So he might not have peaked it.
Well, it's pretty interesting because I'm pretty sure both of them got good glimpses diving or getting to level 4.
Right. But like Factory is one of those levels that you really, really want to have a grab in. And on the side of VioletPumpkin, we're seeing a potion here, red slam locked. What do we think? Third melon? Or are we thinking something really good here? Maybe barrels?
If this is I'm hoping for barrels. If it's barrels, this is gonna be a big play and like go swing massively in Violet's favor.
Yeah. I mean, this is either fantastic or useless, right?
Fantastic, useless, or who knows, maybe it's the logical spring to get you barrels in Treasure Room.
Oh, yeah, right. We haven't seen any hints that really kind of delineate this for us. Tiny Temple path to 8. That's probably port.
Yeah, that would support that maybe port is just your access to Helm. Like I said, hard to tell until either of them decide to peek the pad to double check, but at that point, if you're getting Tiny Temple to 8 and you got port Way of the Horde, you might just think, oh, that's clearly port. And unfortunately, Violet pulling maybe not the strongest move in the game.
I don't think you need the maybe there, brother. That's a bad move.
Yeah, Chimpy Charge, not getting you much. Unless Aztec
we are full
Gongs
clear on all this reds. I think kind of what you said earlier is that I think VioletPumpkin might be guessing that Kilvereis doesn't have this. Oh, nice bounce. Might be guessing that Kilvereis doesn't have this red slam and is just doing every red slam check under the sun.
Right. Like, that's kind of how I would be thinking too, is like, if I have anything that's not likely, how to try and leverage that into an advantage. But unfortunately, the only advantage coming out of this so far has been Chimpy Charge. At the very least, you're grinding GBs, so early game, it's not the worst thing to do in the world. You could try to push these advantages, and then if not, you at least get the golden bananas, and then you can just follow the logic afterward. But you'll like to see something that you think is gonna push you towards the end of the seed. Meanwhile, Kilvereis maybe making the dive here in the Japes. Japes does have a free Wath item here. I think it's probably just Chunky on the free Diddy item. So
that would make sense.
So 100% I'd be going here to just go get Chunky. Unless Chunky doesn't happen to be on the free Diddy item, but at the very least, I'd be getting that information.
And with, what do we see? Who frees Chunky? Tiny frees Chunky? Yeah, I mean, that check could be assigned to any of the Kongs, so it's something that I tend to not realize in the moment. But if you ever see a Kong freeing another Kong in Japes, or Aztec, or Factory, think about the vanilla free Kong checks that could be assigned to anyone.
Yeah, actually, remind me, where did we end up finding Linky again?
The shop, the Cranky shop in Forest.
Right. So actually, now I'm a little iffy about this because we do have Galleon Treasure Room path to freeing Kongs. So if it was just Chunky there, then you wouldn't have anything path to freeing Kongs.
Unless it's Kong in a cage. And we find Feather in Treasure Room or beyond Feather, or Treasure Room.
That's true. I think it was the in front of cage though.
Oh, was it?
It might have been. I guess we'll know for certain here, but I think it was the in front of the cage. But regardless, that does mean that you're probably not walking out of here with Chunky.
Yeah, we're seeing them both just meticulously check every single tiny check, picking up all the tiny CBs, even though we can't necessarily get the medal yet with no feather.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm thinking like Treasure Room might be good to dive into right now. And the reason I'm thinking that is Treasure Room is also path to Lanky. So if that
Right?
ends up being your
Oh, yeah.
barrels, that could get you your mini monkey, which then you take back to treasure room. So
That does very
that
much
scenario
make sense.
of both the path and the wath not lining up together, it
Yeah.
might be a bit likely, but you never know. It could also just be pointing to a wayward trombone somewhere.
It's hard to know though, because it's like when you're in the mid game like this, you always have to make the decision: am I going to a new fresh level that's got new fresh hints? It's got hints I can do right now. It's got, you know, complete density because I haven't done any of the checks yet. Or do I go do this thing that I have an inkling about that's not even guaranteed to be what I'm looking for? You know?
Yeah, I think that's something in the back of my mind, and actually, Kilvereis just absolutely blows the idea of what I had in this seed. Turns out Mini Monkey is here, and who knows what that purple vial on oh, that's probably Twirl. Do you think that's Twirl? And then you could just skip that if you do Mausoleum? With DK?
It could be. I mean, it could be Twirl or Feather.
That's true. You don't want the... Well, yeah, that is true. Do we have any...
You need Twirl and Feather for Mausoleum.
That's true. But in either of those situations, you can still skip it right now.
That is correct. And we don't have a tiny phase, so like Feather isn't even necessarily that important. But having already done most of the tiny stuff we can see in Japes and still no sight of Chunky, I think maybe we do want to be picking up that Feather.
Right, that would get access to her medal. Although, well, yeah, no, you need Feather 100% to get her medal in Japes.
Because we saw the Peanut Cage, we saw the Timed Cage. What else does Tiny do in this level?
Both are in the Feather area.
Everything's in Hive, and then the medal is locked by Feather, and then we haven't seen Boss yet, but I mean, are we really checking Boss when we think it's probably just Feather locked?
Yeah, that'd be, like, I might if I really have no idea, like, what else to do in the seed, but I do think both these runners are probably going to have a pretty good idea of other things they want to do, so I could see someone checking the boss if they think it's a gamble they want to take, but for the most part, I think we're probably just going to see both of them leave after doing a quick clear here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see them either go to... Well, they probably want to go straight to Treasure Room to get that Clam Wath and to double check and make sure that there aren't accidentally 2 items in Treasure Room, but since Mini was free, though, I would expect that maybe that Treasure Room item is... hinted by the 2 hints are pointing to the same thing.
Or a different clam. That's pretty big. Lighthouse.
That's interesting.
And that's completely locked by Coconut, too. So I think whatever we find in the treasure room is just going to get completely absorbed into Coconut for this Lighthouse item.
Well, I was about to say if that's Peanut, then since Peanut gets you Coconut, that would track. But
you can't
it's
find
also
something that locks Coconut inside the Lighthouse.
No, sorry. Treasure Room Peanut.
Sure.
Peanut gets you Coconut. Coconut gets you Lighthouse.
Sure.
The only thing is that it still points to Diddy Phase. I mean, obviously it could still be for Rocket Barrel, but I guess there's quite... It does likely seem that it's probably Peanut in the Treasure Room.
Coconut was on Aztec Diddy Metal. What's your favorite shop?
My favorite shop or my favorite shopkeeper?
Favorite shop, like the atmosphere. Who sets up shop the best? Frankie's the best.
I think Candies is probably the easiest win there.
Because of
Funky's has... Well, I wasn't going to say it out loud, but...
I gotcha. I apologize.
Whatever you want to imply out of that.
Sure.
Cranky's gives me a little bit of the spooks. I mean, he's got like a dead swordfish right there.
What is that?
Hanging on the wall.
That's on guard, bro.
Is that on guard's dad or something?
It has to be. Or maybe his grandpa.
That's kind of messed up. Does on guard know? Like, he helps them out. Does he even know that Cranky's like holding his grandfather's skeleton up there?
Might not.
Yeah, and Funky just I mean, he's selling the goods, but he I don't know, something about him being a little too excited about his wares and just the occasional that he does. You're just kind of like, all right, man, I just want to pay and leave.
And I'm loving this this Tour de France that Kilvereis is doing with all the time cages, getting all the GBs.
Yeah, I like this too. I mean, like they're super quick checks to get.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did he do the trick where you pound on a switch and then you go into Cranky Shop to
He
keep the
had
door
to
open?
because they were all open.
Yeah. It's a fun trick. I think if you enter within like the first 5 seconds, or maybe it's you can just enter whenever, but the cage will just stay open, and so you can actually just get all the cages open and then collect all your prizes on the other end.
I'm a little bit curious about VioletPumpkin's play because she hasn't been to Aztec yet, and that's kind of one of the things we were talking about is, like, do you go to your new level or do you go do your hinted thing? And at this point now, she knows that she can do the clam and she found Mini and it's a big path item, you know? But she's still elected to go to Aztec, so this does worry me a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes that can be one of those things where like you haven't digested everything yet, and so you're like, I know there's 5 hints in Aztec, I'm gonna do them. Like there might be information there regardless of this mega path that is important and crucial that I get in Aztec, but could also be true that she just like hasn't really put 2 and 2 together and thought, oh, I need to go treasure room because that's like a super locking item. I would think the one difference maker to me here is that it's part of your path to freeing Kongs. And so like I prioritize that above everything else. And so I feel like we have to like start chasing Kongs here. I'd rather chase Kongs over information.
Did Kilvereis see that barrel? He jumped over to the lanky barrel just to get a glimpse of it. Oh, I think you're right. 2 items in treasure room.
I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about my read here. Like, we're out of logic on Balloon. It could be possible that this is
could be Balloon inside the chest.
That'd be funny. Balloon inside the chest. But I really don't think this is going to be your Mega Path item without like any real sight of where Balloon could be. I mean, Balloon can be somewhere, but regardless, like you're doing this 100% just to cover your bases. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if Violet also peeks out this barrel or if she just beelines right toward the Wath hinted item.
What are you thinking? Third melon? Oranges.
Marginally better.
That does line up a little bit with the potential theory that you need that for Hive, at least logically for Hive.
Yeah, that all depends on where you find Sax. If Sax ends up being behind Chunky or behind Oranges somehow, then that could be your logical access to Chunky. Now, it wouldn't show up on the paths that way unless it was blocking your saxophone as well, but maybe just the way that the fill works, the fill expects you to use Oranges in the Hive. But like I said, we're still out of logic there. Oranges or Balloon, and there's Peanuts. So
for Peanuts, for Coconut, for Lighthouse. The path is completely absorbed.
I don't think there was a key 4 on the Lighthouse, but there was on the treasure room.
Is that true? Oh, you're right.
I'm looking at the note hint. So I'm thinking that maybe if it is grab on the Creme Isle, it could be minecart to key 4.
Oh yeah, that's a good thought.
But I think regardless, we're going to see Kilv here clear through all of Lighthouse as well. And then we'll have to see. Like, I'm surprised neither of them have picked up the yellow potion. I know at the very least Violet
peeked it but doesn't have Coconut yet, and Kilv hasn't seen it yet. But Violet's going to be getting Coconut very, very soon here. She needs these 15 plus 4 more somewhere, which I imagine she's getting by the 5-door temple.
Right.
I love this strat of raising the tower and then jumping across the middle layer.
Oh, that's interesting. I have not thought about doing that before.
That from King, but I don't know where it came from at first.
And you know what? That would not have been possible had she not found that crucial charge.
True.
Crucial charge being found thanks to Double Slam. Already paying dividends.
what Kongs do we have on Kilvereis' side? Everybody but Chunky.
Yeah, both of them are rocking all the Kongs but Chunky right now. So it's probably going to be a race to find where Featherbow is to find Chunky, but I think it's probably likely it could be here. At the very least, like, this is another path to freeing Kong, so
right.
Odds are our freeing Kong stuff is going to be towards Featherbow.
Really I don't want to see a potion on this dirt patch.
Yeah, that would kind of suck. Well, we're lucky. Just a banana. I don't. Did you end up seeing where the Trough and Scoff portal in Japes was?
I'm not paying attention to those.
Okay. Because my only thought would have been like, if that was, even if it was peanut locked, you wouldn't see Path to Freeing Kongs in the lighthouse. Well, it could be Trough and Scoff in the hive area, and it's actually, you need Featherbow to get to the Trough and Scoff door for a boss. In which case, we might still need barrels to find where Featherbow is.
Inside's one potion. We did see that on the side of Pumpkin. That is the aforementioned charge.
Yep.
And that is Coconut for VP.
Here's where the mind games start playing for Kilvereis. He's going to be like, oh, how do I get... Where is Double Slam? How am I going to get to that one potion?
I think Kilvereis is not looking at his scour hints until he needs to.
Yeah. But like you said, with VP picking up Coconut Gun here, and she definitely peeked that yellow potion. I'm a little unsure about Kilvereis, but I know she definitely saw it. So I'd be thinking like that's the first thing you do. Really fast check, another yellow potion, and you got Minecart on the mind. So
here's a new theory for you: is we just saw on the side of Kilvereis that the outskirts is hinted to 4, and like you said, Coconut. Well, not necessarily Coconut, but Peanut, which finds Coconut, is still unresolved to 4. I think we might be seeing Seal or Seal Race for Key 4.
True. It could be Blast in the Creme Isle.
Thinking about Coconut lock checks that are not in the lighthouse, but are in the outskirts.
Yeah, I mean, the only difference would kind of be like either freeing the seal or somehow this all leads to that is 100% the answer right there.
There's our barrels.
There's our barrels.
Pumpkin have a pearl? We did see a pearl earlier, so big thing from Kilvereis.
Yeah, I mean that's got to take you straight to Aztec boss, right?
Yeah.
Purple vial for the Featherbow. I think the interesting question is if Violet ends up getting Mermaid here and pulls the barrels, which she does have a pearl, so that's not a problem. The question is, do you get the purple vial first or do you get Candy Kong first?
Oh, well, Candy Kong, you don't necessarily know that you need that, so I think you get the purple vial first and go for your Kongs.
True.
I love what VioletPumpkin's doing here. You got Minion Isles, you got Tiny Isles, just check BFI.
Just check BFI. Just know, do I need 6 fairies?
It's a super fast check whenever you go to Isles, but yes, just the mental unloading by just knowing that you don't have to pay attention to your fairies anymore is so helpful. And it's just a pearl. We've already got a pearl. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Kilvereis making his way to Mausoleum.
Yeah,
Out of
looks
Logic
like
Feather.
Yep, Kilvereis is probably going to do Tiny Mausoleum out of Logic here. Although, like we've been cooking here, like it's probably not likely that you can skip Feather altogether if that's going to end up getting you Chunky. And we do have a Chunky phase, so absolutely 100% we need to have Chunky Kong. But at the very least, like if you get this potion before, you can kind of start thinking like, okay, Featherbow leads to this. What's this all going to get me? Actually, that's a fantastic grab.
That is a grab.
That's fantastic because you're right there. Like, just go do Minecart right now.
And so now it's a question here: which coconut check is it that? Well, I think it is. It's going to be key for in on the seal, but
I think with that, it's kind of interesting because coconut. Yeah, because the lighthouse is not Path to 4, so that does kill grab here, assuming that it is Feather on the boss. So I'm thinking that you're probably right. It's probably either Free the Seal or Seal Race for Key 4, which then brings the question of what are we going to find on the minecart?
Just anything inside of our big mega path. Could be any of these keys, could be items for any of these phases.
Right. Once again, it is keys 3, 7, 8, Diddy phase, Lanky phase, and Chunky phase are all kind of on this mega path here. So assuming that Featherbow does get you, or assuming you get Featherbow on the Aztec boss, which Violet just peeked there, the whole mega path is pointing towards Featherbow, which you need for Mausoleum, which gets you grab. So it could be any of these endpoints that we end up locating here. I'd be interested to see if it could be either a key 3 or a chunky phase, because that would cut a lot of. It might be a long path just for twirl. And so if you can cut all of that out, that could be a massive advantage.
I think you're very right about that, seeing how many key 3 hints we have. And I think, I mean, it depends on what we find here, but if we find an item here that isn't just key 3, I think we might run into a situation where Kilv does the thing out of logic, doesn't even read it, does the thing out of logic, and then never really kind of goes back to do the things in logic. And that might be a disadvantage if VioletPumpkin does everything straight and finds Feather.
Well, I would be surprised, knowing what we know, that Kilv still skips Feather. Because, like, at least my mindset in this stage would be like, I want Feather because I know Chunky's behind Feather. But you're pretty confident Chunky's behind Feather at this point. The only way Chunky would not be behind Feather is if he's behind the boss, and depending on where the boss store. But that's 3 out of 4 checks where Chunky could be requiring Feather, and you absolutely know, like, I'm probably going to need Feather regardless. I'd be getting it.
We don't know that boss is for sure Feather, though.
I mean, I guess not. It could still be Twirl.
It could still be Sax.
It could be Sax for a completely another reason. But I don't know. Possibly a difference in playstyles. I would not be skipping that vial ever.
I just say that because Kilv already skipped the vial to do this out of logic,
That is true. He didn't beeline right towards Aztec boss. Sometimes it could just be an order of operations thing. There is rocket barrel, so it looks like there's barrels. I mean, barrels to Featherbow to get you grab eventually. So that is Diddy phase 100% solved for. Maybe not in logic, but we do know that Twirl is going to end up getting us to Diddy phase. I guess that also does mean that the boss could still be Twirl there. So it is still a little riskier. Interesting. Now we see Kilv going back to Greenhouse. This is an interesting one. I would not have continued in Surroundings. I would have gone straight to Aztec boss.
I mean, he doesn't have anything pointing him this way. I think he's just doing this for density, maybe.
Just for GBs. He is sitting at 37 GBs and 4 blueprints. So you're kind of getting close to the 50 mark. I don't know if I would be doing this. Like, you're still out Trombone. You're still out 2 chunky moves. You're still out key 3, key 4. Like, there's still a lot of endpoints that you kind of need to go for. Like, I get that you kind of want to get to 64 as fast as possible. It's a requirement, but at some point you have to kind of balance that against, like, what's your knowns in the seed. And I think there's still quite a few unknowns, even if we think that, like, we can skip Aztec boss. But he will be rewarded here by finding Super Duper Slam. Question is, with nothing pointing you towards Forest, do you go Forest with this?
Absolutely not. Kilv has too many things to actually do here. Like, even, like, just chasing Rocket stuff, because, Rocket is part of the Mega Path. You don't know if it's early or late in the chain, but, Rocket theoretically could get you any of this stuff on, what are these? Key 3, Key 7, Key 8, Lanky Phase, Chunky Phase. Or even Feather, like, well,
yeah,
I guess not Feather, but...
Oh, right, because you need Feather for that.
Right, so far we know Feather and Twirl lead into Grab, lead into Rocket.
Yeah, have the runners gone to all the levels at this point? I don't think they've gone to... Oh, they haven't gone key 4 yet. So they haven't gone to level 5, which I think at this point has to be caves. So they don't have all their information quite yet. Because another thing that I might think about doing is just delaying some of that to get more information to see, do I see partial paths with Diddy Phase? Or do I see mega paths with Diddy Phase? Just to kind of like try to rule out where Diddy Phase is on that mega path. But until you get key 4, like there's not extra information you're gonna get, so might as well just start doing a couple of these rocket barrel checks that could lead you to trombone or to hunky or punch. Or key 3, that's a possibility too.
Kilvereis doing just the outskirts checks he can, hoping to hit that key 4, but it was not going to be there with Coconut still path to 4.
Yeah, now I realize you're probably right. Kilvereis probably hasn't seen it because he swims from... He doesn't go to warp 4 and then drop down. He swims from the pads. So that's a unfortunate disadvantage. He just doesn't know where that yellow violet is.
But if it is blast for key 4, then really how important is it, you know? How much do we have to do in caves? Just like a couple late game items, key 3, chunky phase items?
I mean, you never know. There's still 5 hints there. One of them could be your key, like, you know, oh, you better go back to Forest Mushroom Interior to get something that's really important, and you might never think about going back there regardless, or without that hint.
There is no way that this 5-door temple stays open. I don't know if I'm learning something new right now. We'll find out. He shot both switches and then went inside.
Yeah.
Diddy's.
Well, I think we're gonna learn something. One of us is gonna learn something here, whether it's you or Kilvereis.
It's a good way of putting it. That's nuts. That is nuts.
Well,
I
that's
never
new
knew
tech
that.
to put into the pocket there.
Oh,
I guess you can just shoot whatever doors you want. As long as you get into the first one quick enough, they'll stay open.
All right, we got our peanuts from VioletPumpkin, and I think she's probably making the connection that that's just for Coconut, at least so far.
Right.
But Kilv is kind of going out of his way to not do Aztec Boss, I think.
That's just, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, if that's Feather, you'd be kicking yourself, but it's also like, I think it's very possible it's just Twirl there, and you don't care to do a boss for Twirl.
But what the rough thing is that you don't have any guaranteed hints you can do right now, you know?
Right.
So we're kind of just following our hinted items and hoping they give us stuff. And so it just makes this whole thing a big risk, you know?
Yeah. And now he's basically retreading Violet's old ground of going back to Forest, doing all the super duper slam stuff. Like, I do agree. This is all basically... This is all basically unhinted. Like, if I was in this situation, 100% I'd be doing the Wath. If it is Twirl, at the very least, that information is useful.
Yeah, I think you just want to be kind of doing the things that you know are useful when you don't have anything concrete, right? You only have guesses.
Right.
I just think like making a play like that is not very worth it unless you are pretty confident you're right, because there is no reason to believe it is Twirl over Feather. Like it's a 50-50 almost, you know?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it plays out. I mean, we don't know any better ourselves whether it's Twirl or Feather. If it's Twirl, right, I guess Kilvereis can read minds, and if it's Feather, then it is what it is. I'm more interested to see once Violet gets key 4, if she immediately goes into level 5 caves and decides to get the last bit of our information.
I mean, she did the blast course, right?
Yeah, I saw her do the blast course. I think she's just being super thorough here and hasn't talked to the seal yet. Oh, we have hit our hour mark, and unfortunately, neither Kilvereis or Violet have found all their Kongs. You would think, like, I don't know what the ratio is on believers versus doubters on wins, but you would think, like, with the top racers, you're like, oh, they're the top racers. Easily they get the Kongs in time, right? But I have seen so many seeds. Maybe I'm just a doubter at heart, but, like, I don't know.
It's
Season 4
not
has
up to
hands
the
when it comes to
racers.
getting Kongs.
It is not up to the racers whether you get your Kong family early or not. It is completely RNG wherever they end up.
True, and when you have a playstyle that's A, extremely thorough, or B, where you're allergic to feathers, I guess like it's gonna be hard to pull all your Kongs that quickly. Actually did
Kilvereis never had that. He didn't have that hint. So okay, now that he has that hint, now he's thinking feathers a little more important. Maybe. That's what was going on. I was really wondering why you're just skipping that boss so hard. Because from his perspective, both Feather and Twirl are skippable there.
Right.
It's not a 50-50, but yeah, okay. I think we're gonna see Kilv going and doing that boss now.
Yeah, the only thing you could have inferred, and this is, I don't even know if I could have inferred it with that, is your barrels got you something past the freeing Kongs, and you know that boss is barrel locked. So like, that's where that becomes a little more difficult, but then you might be thinking, oh, is Tiny, like, on production? Like, you wouldn't be, or, sorry, is Chunky on production? You might not know that.
But is Chunky on production?
If you don't have the hint of which level Chunky is in, and you're right. Featherbow gets me grab, then you might think, oh, maybe Chunky's on production.
Well, where are we going? Why are we going to... We found Key 4 on VioletPumpkin's side. Why are we going to Factory here for Kilv?
Factory Storage and Arcade to 7,
Maybe.
which it doesn't really line up with barrels that well.
I'm curious to see Violet's next move. Do we do the boss, or do we go to our new level? We go to Factory. What's in Factory for Violet? What's in Factory for both these people that I'm missing?
Well, at the very least, Kilv has grab, so he can get his last hint here.
Oh, she's never been to Factory.
Oh, and she's never been.
You've watched two people at the same time. Too hard. Too hard.
Yeah. Makes a lot more sense for Violet, I think, if it's a whole new level. I don't know if maybe Kilv was just like, I know I'm going to Factory after whatever I find in Forest, and sometimes you don't process what you found in the level until you get to the next level. But I think he's got to be like, all right, I'm just getting my last hint here. But hopefully he's cooking in his mind, like, maybe I need that purple potion to get Chunky.
If Violet did leave Galleon without... Man, I wish I knew where these hints were, because we do have that Lighthouse hint, but maybe that Lighthouse hint is in Factory, and that's why she didn't do the Mermaid. Because the Mermaid, I think Mermaid's one of those checks you skip if you're just doing density.
Right. I think it was here in Factory. I want to say maybe the R&D hint.
Okay, it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
They really are two different people with two different amounts of information.
Two different bits of
Don't
information.
buy it, please. Okay, thank God.
What?
What do you mean, what?
It's just a little lagoon.
What do you mean, what? It's the Blitz Tournament. Why are you buying that for the restream? I'm very, very proud of both my runners for not doing that. For not giving into the temptation. For resisting the urge.
Oh, you might have some pitchforks out there in chat later, Mumbo.
I don't care.
I guarantee your safety.
All right, where are we going, Kilv? We are going to Aztec. I think Kilv has finally been like, I guess I'm just doing it. Kilv's just doing it, and I'm glad.
Yep, I think this is absolutely. Once you realize, oh, Tiny's behind Chunky, 3 of her 6 checks are behind Feather, and I've only been able to check the other 2. I probably need this, but it'll be a little sore if this ends up being Twirl.
Yeah. And Kilv did not peek Castle Boss, right? Because Kilv did get Key 1 early, so VP does have that small advantage of knowing exactly where Candy is.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have not seen a potion yet on Candy.
Wasn't Aztec Candy a potion? Am I making that up? Yeah, there's a vial on Aztec Candy.
Oh. All right, I stand corrected. There is one vial. Candy might have one vial, and we're going to see if that ends up being anything. I know Violet has yet to grab Candy, but at least, very least, she knows where Candy is, so it'll just kind of depend on if that vial ends up being anything. Crossing your fingers that it's something like Trombone and not something like Stand. But you got to think with barrels being pathed to so many things, that does increase the odds that that vial might just be something. It could be, I don't know, it could be like your Hunky Chunky or something.
Right.
So I feel like with that information and you know where Candy is, I'd probably put that somewhere on my radar. I might go to caves first, get all my information, and then do it. But at the very least, it's on your radar of like, if I run out of stuff to do, I should definitely do that.
We do have, according to chat, we do have Galleon Candy is hinted, and this is a pivotal moment for Kilv too, because now Kilv has no idea where Feather is. And he doesn't really have the lead. He might think just Casino Castle for.
Oh, is Aztec Candy Feather? Would that be barrels to freeing Kongs?
It could be.
Because we still know barrels is to freeing Kongs. We thought that might have been the solution there, but it turns out that's Twirl on the Aztec boss.
But Candy is on the castle boss on a barrels locked boss.
Correct.
So the theory is that one of these two Candy vials that we've seen throughout the seed, one of which is hinted Waff, could be that Feather we're looking for.
That's true. And if you're Kilv, you're kind of like, well, here we go. Kilv getting the most important vial in the game. So don't worry, Charge Hopers. He's going to be grabbing Charge as well. But yeah, if you're Kilv, you got to be thinking like, okay, Twirl, I know that's for grab. Oh God, is grab path to like freeing Kongs? Does that mean Rocket Barrel is path to freeing Kongs? That actually just blew the whole seed wide open for Kilv.
I think Kilv in a bad way. Idea that he's looking for Feather, and Feather can't come from Rocket. But I think this play tells me that he's desperate, and because we're checking Scours now. Slam is not hinted, Forest is not hinted. He came here for the Scour hint because he doesn't know where Blast is for Key 4, and he doesn't know how to get Feather.
You're right. A Feather cannot be locked by Rocket Barrel. You're right, because Rocket Barrel is ultimately locked by Feather that we skipped. So correct on that. So you wouldn't be chasing Rocket Barrel stuff.
Kilv is ahead on GBs, and he's ahead on progression, but he's down on the knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're just going here and trying to find Candy, I think is the idea.
Yeah. At the very least, like, I don't know, if you're thinking like, my barrels might still be unresolved to freeing Kongs, and you're in Castle, and it can't be Chunky's check. Boss might be one of the first things you do check.
Yeah, I think you're right. Or Twirl, right? Because so far all that barrels has done is gotten you Twirl. So maybe he hasn't looked at Chasm yet. Is that what we're doing here? Yeah. He's thinking about Twirl. Oh, but Twirl gets you. Well, hold on.
Yeah, but that's behind Feather already. You might think that, oh, Twirl might not be, like, Twirl might already be quote-unquote solved for. So I don't know.
It could still be on a different Twirl check. Twirl could get you Feather somewhere, not through grab.
I mean, the only other place it could... I'm trying to think, because, like, Galleon Lobby requires Chunky. Production requires Grab, which was Feather locked already. You've seen both the Twirl checks in Castle.
Well, that's why he just went and checked Chasm right there, is because he hadn't seen it yet.
But the only other option, which you wouldn't know, but might help him along the way, the only other option to that would be Mad Jack.
Right. Yeah,
or
I think
caves.
that does lead you into
checking
more
bosses here. Yeah. Yeah, I think barrels plus Twirl, like you're checking bosses all day.
Yeah, you're right. Kilv's done every single Twirl check he can, so we're back to barrels.
Yeah. I mean, there's still the looming threat that Kilv still does not know where Blast was. He still has not peeked Creme Isle, which behind the coconut cage is Blast, which you need for Key 4. And we do
What
have
is a good bail out there for Kilv, though, is that he still knows that Coconut is unresolved to 4, or at least Peanuts is unresolved to 4, which got you Coconut. And that's going to be at the top of your list, the Isles Coconut Cage. It just so happened that Coconut is double used for Key 4, but that does work out in Kilvereis' favor for sure.
I'm trying to think, like, would you think that wouldn't lead you to Rocket Barrel, right? No, because okay, Galleon Lighthouse. Yeah, okay. You can't be thinking that like the Rocket Barrel is your key 4 item. That wouldn't be possible because Barrels is not path key 4, and Barrels is ultimately on that long path to get grabbed. So yeah, you're right. It's either Peanut or Coconut that are going to get you key 4 and kills mine. So I'm not surprised he's back in Japes. A lot of Peanut checks here. Might go back to Aztec. A lot of Peanut, a lot of Coconut. Well, he actually already went back to Aztec. So odds are he's probably just checking most of the Peanut checks, and then like hopefully he ends up saying, well, those Isles Coconut Cage could be it.
The situation for Kilv is actually a little more dire. What checks has he not done in the outskirts? He hasn't done Mechfish, which already uses Peanuts. He hasn't done the Seal stuff, which already uses Coconut.
If you
no matter
rule
which,
out Rocket, if you rule out Rocket Barrel, it wouldn't be Mechfish. But yeah, you could be. Oh, if you're thinking that, yeah,
Kilv has already done all the outskirts stuff except for Seal Race, and like you said, Mechfish is out. So Coconut is already to 4 for Mechfish. So from his perspective, it's just like full Blast Casino. Not full, but.
So So you don't know where Blast is at all. You have no help because it's completely lampshaded by the fact that Coconut is used both to get Blast and both to get you to the pad for Galleon.
So I think Kilv's plan is just do other Peanut checks to maybe hit something because it is on the big path. It's the last hinted item. Yeah. Meanwhile, VP is going to get. Ooh, this is interesting. Going up the middle. She's going to get her grab.
I guess I'm a little surprised she doesn't have barrels yet. Because that is just the mermaid. That isn't something. I guess that's not a common check to typically do. But, you know, if you know something's in the lighthouse, you'd probably like to cover all your bases before leaving.
And she definitely does have that hint now. She does have the lighthouse hint, right? Oof. Going up the middle looks so hard.
Someone's telling me that it's the Coconut hint in Japes that actually had the lighthouse.
Oh.
So you have to return to Japes with Coconut.
So Dose Stores is like really playing a role here.
Right.
Oh, dips a little low. So close. That is so close.
That's very close. That's not typically the route I do on this. I usually go the 2 left hands. I'll kick to the hand on the left, and then I'll kick to the one in front of that, and then back towards the center. I don't know how difficult this kick is. It looks pretty difficult because you have to like go around the fingers.
Never tried it. Ooh, that's unlucky.
Yeah.
Is in the hand, but still dips low enough anyways. Yeah, Kilv's just doing all his medals that require Coconut and Peanuts now, it looks. Just desperately hoping to hit something. Because it does make sense for Blast to be locked by the one thing you've already seen on the path to Key 4, you know?
That's true. I mean, like, I would say if you're playing probabilities and you think that it's either my Blast is entirely lampshaded or it's completely casino, I think it is better in the odds to just assume it's lampshaded first before, because at the very least, like, if it's full on casino, then you're still doing checks and you couldn't rule any of them out. But there's something in me that sort of says like there's greater odds that it's lampshaded than it is being full casino. So you probably want to prioritize those Coconut and Peanut checks. So I'm not surprised, but it also kind of looks like he might be hedging his bets on that as well. Still going for the lanky metal here.
But the fact that we're doing metals instead of the Isles Coconut Cage kind of tells me that Isles Coconut Cage is not on his mind.
Yeah, I don't know if you filled up the camel pack before joining stream here, Mumbo. We might be, we might have a long route here.
And there's
Well,
Gorilla Grab for Pumpkin. Well done. First try every time.
Yeah, actually, to give credit to Violet, I think she's more or less closer to being on the right track here because
Yeah,
she just needs to go back
absolutely.
for hints.
Yeah.
Kilv needs to peek a cage that he hasn't peeked.
Which is
And I think that's
very
going to be a
rough,
lot. That's going to be a lot harder to kind of pull out.
especially if he thinks he might have already seen it and ruled it out, which is kind of what worries me. Although Isles checks are very easy to just forget. Oh, we're not going there.
No,
Are
he
we at
ends
least
up.
doing Isles stuff?
I don't think on this route you're doing Isle stuff. I think you're going level 6 Japes.
Going to level 6.
Yeah, I think he's just doing the route or doing the cycles, getting all the medals that he can. I think you might be right. He might just be thinking he's on full-on casino mode.
You know what's crazy here too is we still have so much seed to play.
True.
Like this is
I mean,
not even the end of the seed. Is we have to still find all our chunky moves, right? I mean, we have Gone, but we still need to find the others.
yeah, we started with
We still need
Gone.
to find key 3.
Still key 3. Did we get a read on key 7? I don't think we have key 7 yet.
You know, key 7 is from the big Peanuts path, which fed into barrels eventually, and then
Yeah.
Storage Arcade is path to 7 alone. So maybe some item alone there. None of them are directly barrels locked, but
Yeah, and we have a lot of items off that barrels path that could lead to it. So who knows what it's going to be for Storage Arcade to 7. I was thinking like punch is usually a good item, but none of our punch paths, at least except for the mega path, none of the punch ones line up with 7. Unless that's just a terrible path to Hunky, which I'm kind of afraid
yeah,
of. But
I think DK Arcade is pretty reasonable, considering that barrels does eventually feed into Grab, and then maybe Grab is just used to finish off the arcade.
maybe.
Kilv is doing the right thing in checking random bosses to just do barrel stuff. Unfortunately, this is not the right random boss, or maybe it is. I don't know. Feather could just be
Japes,
here.
right? He's in Japes?
Yeah. Oh, I guess maybe he's thinking maybe Chunky's on the Japes boss. That's fair.
Right.
In which case, barrels to free Kongs could be explained.
Right.
But no, that does confirm that we 100% need Feather. Feather's not even skippable for like Tiny Metal or anything like that.
Right.
So Kilv's just continuing with the game plan, peanut checks, coconut checks. And now this is a pivotal moment for VioletPumpkin. What does she do here? I love that picture, Kilv. I love it. All right, I want Kilv to win now. Oh man. All right, what are we doing, VP? We're going to level 6 as well. We're going to Japes. What are we doing in Japes?
Well, at the very least, if she goes to Japes, she'll pick up that lighthouse hint.
You're right. That's pretty
So
nice.
I think this is the maybe echoes the tale of the tortoise and the hare. I feel like Violet is slowly making like constant progression, whereas Kilv blasted out, like did everything super quick, and now he's like stuck. He doesn't really have anything helping him out here. And slowly, Violet is just getting hints, getting an item. Like she's being really thorough, and the clock is ticking for Kilv here to find Blast or to find Candy on the castle boss.
Violet might have the same boss idea here. Yeah, just in case Chunky's here. I mean, this is a good decision. This is definitely a good decision.
Yeah,
we already know it doesn't work out, and I guess maybe she is second guessing.
Oh,
Oh, she doesn't have enough bananas. That's funny.
Oh, rip.
Yeah, if this is her first time having coconut in Japes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
How many bananas are back there, anyways? Not even that many.
I mean, she'll have enough for the boss at the very least. It looks like I think she was only like 10 off, so she might be pretty close. This might also be her first time with Peanuts too, so a lot of checks, and she's just being like super thorough. Like I said, she's just slowly like covering all her bases,
but the hint,
making
though,
consistent progress, and Kilv is just scrambling everywhere trying to find any sort of help.
Mhm. I just think if you're going into Japes and you don't have all your hints and you're just here to get like that few more colored bananas for the boss, I'd probably go the direction that gets you the hint as well. And it's easy to say because we know that that hint is very important and it's exactly the thing that solves the seed for VioletPumpkin. But still, just in general, I think you kind of want to two birds with one stone. If you're going out of your way for colored bananas, go the way that gets you your hints too.
Right. Well, I gotta be thinking she's probably just being thorough because at this point, all she knows is, oh, peanut need a coconut, and coconut's a massive path. I don't know anything else outside of that.
I guess that's true. That's right. Doing the peanut checks is good.
And in fact, you don't even know how much of this path is to coconut because at this point, all you know is coconut is Wath.
Kilv is on Creme Isle and is checking the wrong Creme Isle stuff.
I think he's just
doesn't
peeking
know.
Still
He
doesn't
know.
know.
There's no way because Coconut Cage is that fast and he is clearly prioritizing peanuts and coconut. There is no way that he doesn't think he's already seen it, I think.
Yeah, that's got to be rough. I mean, I've definitely had those moments. I had one in the last night race I did where I thought I checked something until like it took me 5 minutes and I was like, oh wait, no, I never actually checked that. So maybe Kills in that point, or maybe he has convinced himself, I have checked that coconut cage. It is not that coconut cage. I need to scramble around. Luckily, though, he is checking the boss that has Candy Kong. And this is going to be a barrels boss. So he might be thinking, okay, this could be my breakthrough. I need to get candy, and then I need to buy those 2 potions.
I think he does this 100%.
I think 100% too. If you've already seen a potion... At this point as well,
Candy
when
potion is hinted Wath, so yeah, he's gonna see this as candy and do it.
Yeah.
On VioletPumpkin's side, by the way, we did see even though she has charge, we're skipping charge to get to the minecart. Even without Chunky, you can flip up to that minecart, I believe. It's a little tight, but it's possible.
Yeah, I've only done it with Diddy Lanky or Diddy Chunky. I wouldn't know what the strat is.
But now this race comes down to when Kilv finds Blast, I believe, and it's because this is gonna get him Chunky. It doesn't get him any more hints though.
The problem is, I think this is a double-edged sword because you're gonna get candy and you're gonna get 2 potions. And honestly, if you're rooting for Kilv here, you're hoping both those potions are green or worthless. And the reason for that is that any more potions that he gets for any of the 4 Kongs is just going to increase his surface area for what he needs to check a lot.
Well, we're hoping to find Feather here, for sure, from one of those 2.
Yeah, if he finds Featherbow and he gets Chunky, that does get him some more checks that he's able to do. However, like, we need Key 4. There's no way that... Obviously spawn the boss, but also we need access to caves.
Yeah.
Like, caves is not a skippable level. So the more surface area that you add to this seed, it's just going to be like the less likely that he's going to go check that cage.
All right, VioletPumpkin's got to reevaluate.
Yeah, I think Violet is probably coming to the news that Chunky is probably behind Featherbow. Oh, I don't know. Oh, no, she's just warping out and back in. I was about to say, I don't know if she got the hint.
Here? At like an hour 25, you kind of feel like you've already got all your hints, and you kind of got to actively remember that you're missing hints.
Yeah.
But it looks like she's doing so. That's good.
Yeah, no, this is a good hint.
This is going to bail her out for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like, at this level, I feel like a lot of people kind of know which checks they've done and haven't done. At the very least, you haven't done the fairy. So you're kind of like, okay, I need to go get that fairy, and then that hint door's right there.
There's also a world where we just, like, get enough golden bananas to go to Helm, and, like, it's Season 4, it's so common for stuff to be in Helm with the 50 door that you can go to a little bit early, and not having to do the Helm lobby stuff to get into Helm.
Right. And I think Kilv saw the pad, and I think it was port. Yeah.
Yes, it was port.
It was port. So yeah, he does have. If he does get to 50, he might just. And there's the crucial hint for Violet. He might just end up going to Helm. Just like figure out where your trombone is. You know you need that. Figure out where your guitar is. You know you need that.
I love the little walk into the wall while she's clearly writing the hint.
Yeah.
Love it, dude.
And yeah, she's going straight to Galleon.
Yeah. So taking inventory of what both runners have, really, Kilv is just up a Candy Kong. And has he even bought the potions from Candy yet?
He bought one of the potions, so the factory candy Lanky ended up being bongos.
Okay.
So that
do we care
that
about
could take you to, well, it is needed for Helm.
Okay.
I believe. Yes, it is needed for Helm. So that already explains why that's Wath. The only unfortunate part is if you're still looking for items, Candy is behind Barrels. Barrels is that mega path. You're like, okay, bongos, add that to the list of stuff I need to check. And then I don't think we've seen the other item yet.
Right. So what are we doing back here? I guess we're just doing stuff because we came to factory to get bongos.
Yeah.
So we might as well do this other stuff while we're here.
Yeah, I think Kilv is still full on, like, how do I get key 4? Because that's still coconuts and peanuts. So that isn't barrel locked, which is nice, but I guess that is true. If you're trying to narrow down key 4 items, your blast, then you do know that it's not bongo locked because bongos is behind barrels, which is not past the key 4.
This is a big decision for Violet, by the way, is which boss do you do? Do you do Candy and get 3 potions, or do you do the mystery purple vial, which could just be Twirl?
I think I know.
She's making the right choice. What was level 4? Was level 4 Aztec?
Level 4 is Aztec, yeah.
Yeah, she was going to go get that purple vial and said, no, I need Candy no matter what, and there's 3 potions. I might as well do Candy.
I would bid $30 though that she still does the Aztec boss. Like no situation where
if she finds Feather though, if you find Feather on one of the candy potions, then why would you go back?
Do you do that before getting before potentially getting chunky though?
Absolutely, yeah. She's doing candy now. Go buy your candy potions. Hope that one of them is the Feather you need, because the situation VioletPumpkin's in right now is Aztec boss is purple. It's either Feather or Twirl. You don't know which.
Right.
But you can do Candy, which you know you need to do because there's a Wath vial, and you get 2 bonus potions out of Candy, which is 2 more, like, kind of chances to get Feather. So I 100,000,000,000% support this decision, and then running and buying the Candy potions before touching Aztec boss.
Right. Okay, I could see the logic in that. Checking, like, you're never going to regret checking Candy stuff here.
Yes.
You know one of her potions is Wath, so you need this anyway.
Yes.
And it's a lot faster, and like you said, if you do pull up Feather, then you're grateful. I guess it all depends on whether this Aztec candy potion is Feather or not.
Well, there's
if it's
3
not,
potions.
Oh, there's a 3rd potion.
There's 3 potions. There's one in Aztec, one in Factory, which we already saw was Bongos, and then one in Galleon that is hinted Wath.
Ah, okay. So the factory one wasn't even hinted Wath.
Right.
But you do need it. Okay. So that's a 2 and 3 odds. One of them being Wath does actually really increase its odds of being something nice like Feathers.
Right. And it's like, even if the Wath vial is Twirl, then, like, you know you can just go back to Aztec boss and get Feather. Like,
yeah, it's the difference between wasting, like, 10 seconds versus wasting 2 minutes.
Yeah. All right, we're doing a big shopping spree over on Violet's side. Meanwhile, Kilvereis is miserable. Kilvereis is doing random mini checks. If he's doing this, he's desperate.
Yeah.
And that's so unfortunate, because he played really well. I mean, he's so fast. But he's just going to get owned by not peeking this coconut cage and thinking he already has.
Right.
I guess this is a grab check, and he just did the mini check along the way. That's not bad.
I mean, if you still need 64, which I'll have to zoom in Kilv's tracker here, but I think he's at like 50 plus 8 blueprints. So he's approaching 64. I was about to say maybe you do it for GBs still, like keep grinding, but at this point when you're approaching like 58 and
Yeah.
you don't have key 4, and you know that you're plenty of items away from go mode, you're like,
Don't
this
worry
is not
about sprints. Don't worry about sprint. Sprint is bait. You've got 2 more potions on Candy, one of which is Hinted Waft we haven't seen yet.
right. I don't know. Doesn't look like she's exiting, so she might be saying, "Oh, I don't want to risk it. I want to see if this is Featherbow." Yep.
Was Aztec Candy Hinted Waft? I don't see that. Am I making that up? I think that was just peaked. We're doing this anyways. I've seen so many different sources tell me which one got hinted. I have no idea which one it is. I think I'm still I'm checking all of the candy potions before doing the second boss, but this boss was hinted waft. Good chance it's feather. It's not a bad play. Galleon was the one hinted waft, then I think 100,000,000% you go and check that Galleon candy potion before you do this other boss.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, it's probably something like calmer minds in the booth. You're thinking about that when you got the stress of the tournament, and you're like,
Absolutely.
do I really want? Especially when you know it's being restreamed. Do I want to gamble leaving this purple potion that maybe I'm not reading something correctly? This could 100% be feather. Like, it's a hard call to make.
And we still haven't even started the seed yet. We have no idea where our chunky moves are. We have no idea where key 3 is. We have no idea where key 7 is. We have no idea what's going on, guys.
Yeah, I'm glad I got the big gulp for this one.
And it's not like these two diverged so heavily.
Yeah, you got to
still we have no idea what's going on.
You got to see 2 very different play styles here. You have Kilvereis, who puts the gas to the metal and like doesn't let up at all, versus who's very thorough, like Violet. And it's kind of crazy that we're kind of approaching this situation where we're still like we maybe have reached just over halfway in the seed, and this is all just like Kilv is missing Blast, which we know is in the Creme Isle Coconut Cage, and he doesn't have great information for that because he thinks that Coconut is already somewhat solved to 4. So that's why he's just doing everything here somewhat randomly. And you have Violet, who is just making steady gains inch by inch. She's being super thorough, making sure no stone is left unturned. And she's just making slow but steady progress here.
Sick.
So I think like it's probably like, I don't know. It's all just going to come down to if Kilvereis can find this blast within, I don't know, say next 10 minutes, like that's going to be what he needs to do. Otherwise, like, I think Violet's going to get the lead ahead of him, and then the whole seed is just going to be ahead of her.
Is Kilvereis even ahead, though? At this point, they're tied, no? What does Kilvereis have that VioletPumpkin doesn't?
GBs.
GBs and bongos.
Granted, GBs are probably not the... I mean, like, part of it is...
Because Violet's got 47 plus 9. She's at 56 right now, and neither of them have touched caves, and there's so much seed left to play.
Yeah, I'm actually, like, I'm kind of surprised Violet hasn't gone, or at least peeked into caves. I guess she's trying to figure out this key 7, which is storage. But I don't know. I think it's all going to come down to, like, where do we find Featherbow here? Is it possible Featherbow's behind caves?
Who buys the potion in Galleon? Is it maybe that Chunky buys the potion in Galleon? Why have neither of our runners done the Galleon waft? Galleon candy waft? Because that could just be like exactly what Kilv is looking for, right? Well, I guess it can't help him find key 4, but I mean, if it's a waft hint, then it's a waft hint. You need it. It's Lanky.
I mean, people are saying it's Lanky who buys it, so that does make it like kind of interesting that neither of them have gone to buy it.
It's a little bit blowing
now.
my mind.
I would not be yeah, that's got to be a little interesting. You got like a waft that's not resolved. That's probably harder to miss. I was about to say, like, I could see people not peeking the candy shop if you don't have candy yet, but if you have a hint that says this is a waft potion, go to this potion. then that's a little harder to reason about what they're thinking here. I don't know if Kilv is just like, I'm not going to think about that potion until I find my key 4 item. Like, if he's just super worried about key 4, but
Yeah, that potion definitely cannot help him find key 4. Unless
Right.
there's some crazy either or going on, which is, I mean, unlikely at this point. He's just doing every metal now, man. That's so upsetting. And I think we're about to see key 7 on VioletPumpkin's side.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think this will be telling. If key 7 is not here, then I think it has to be punch locked.
What else is like path to Chunky and 7? Does that exist? Nah, it's just
don't even need to
right
think
here.
about that reality. That reality just closed on us. There is key 7.
And we're happy to see that. I think VioletPumpkin is very solidly in the lead right now.
I would agree too.
Think it's a runaway unless the seed ends up being super cringe in the late game.
Yeah, that's what I'm a little afraid of. We still have a lot of stuff that's unresolved. We have caverns to 3, igloo to 3, Japes Force lobbies to chunky phase, 5-door ship to chunky phase.
Yeah.
And 5 more hints that could possibly, throw a wrench in this. So I would agree with you. I think Violet A is ahead in progression now, and B has a clearer path ahead of her.
Yeah. Ammo Belt 2, Poggers.
Ammo Belt 2.
Awarded.
But I would hesitate. I've seen casters from generations past say the seed is solved, and then 10 minutes later they're like, oh, we're here for another hour.
The seed is definitely not solved. That's for sure. So we do have 5 fresh hints still in caves that nobody's looked at yet, which is exciting.
Right. Although, what are the odds that those hints and caves are just going to say some obvious stuff that we've seen already? Maybe like Arcade Round 2, Way of the Horde.
Yeah, exactly.
Could be possible. But then we're kind of left with like caverns to 3. You need punch or vines or I guess with barrels being path to 3, do we think it's canon game?
I mean, barrels is to 3, but
the only reason I say that is that, like, maybe finding pineapple in igloo makes more sense than, you would have to find hunky in caverns for igloo to line up with barrels.
Yeah, so, I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah.
What did that barrel just come out of the blue barrel? Did anybody see that? What just happened?
It's Donkey Kong, both old and new. The game loves to show us some crazy moments.
A blue barrel just gave birth to an orange barrel. I think that's what I just saw.
That's beautiful.
Anyway, so that's key 7.
There we go. Key 7.
Let's go do some candy. Let's go do some candy. Ooh, Kilv's doing candy right now. Or I guess Funky.
Oh, Kilv's doing everything, hopefully including candy. I guess it also includes the boss.
He's doing... Are we just making up this galleon candy hint or something? Or did only one of the runners see it or something? Like, what's going on here? I have been gaslit so many times.
We might have gaslit ourselves. Yeah. I'm trying to see because I don't think we have a candy Wath in our notes, and the one that makes sense is the factory one because factory is bongos. You need that for 8. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Yeah, seeing the fact that Kilv straight up did not. Oh my God, he finally found it.
I think we're wrong. Well done, Kilvereis.
Good job, Kilvereis.
But now we have VioletPumpkin first in caves, and we saw, what was the hint? Did it say something about the Kasplat and Llama Temple is Way of the Horde? Is that what I saw? Am I making that up?
I didn't get a good glimpse at it, unfortunately. I think someone did say they saw Llama Temple, so it might be something for Llama Temple. I mean, with everything that... I guess it's interesting because I was about to say everything Coconut is path to, and Coconut gets you Blast. I could easily see something in there, but... maybe Featherbow's in there, do you think?
Featherbow's in where?
If it's in Llama Temple? Oh, someone's saying Llama Temple path to 8. Okay. Or, okay, I don't... I don't know. Everyone's saying everything right now. If it is
Llama
the
Temple was
Kasplat,
hinted. Llama Temple was hinted path to 8 about 20 years ago on one of the first hints we saw, but the Caves lobby hint just said that the Kasplat and Lava Temple was
oh,
Wabi.
there's
We have
another
Llama Temple to Chunky phase.
So regardless, Llama Temple looking like a hot
Yeah.
spot. I think you just want to get it to feel better about how much of the seed is solved.
That candy doesn't have anything either. So maybe, yeah, I think Galleon Candy just doesn't have anything. And so Barrels gets you feathers somewhere else. Totally unknown. Because what has Barrels definitely gotten you? It's definitely gotten you bongos. And it's definitely gotten you sprint.
Bongos and sprint. I mean, have either of them checked Creme Isle?
I don't think so.
Might be might be my experience from last night, but I got that check on watch right now. Especially since like without balloon or trombone, and vines and yeah, also trombone. That doesn't put a lot of other sprint checks into logic. Or it could just be bongo locked, maybe bongos to like the 5-door. Or bongos in caves is actually really powerful too.
Yeah, caves is your bongos level for sure. I'm a little. I wonder why VP left caves so hastily to run to Llama Temple. I think I probably would have gotten the rest of my hints, but if she's got a super strong idea about what's going on here, I think this might work out.
I would not be surprised if, well, except Blast is not Blast was not gotten through barrels. The barrels to freeing Kongs is kind of throwing me right now.
Yeah. That's a third thing in Llama Temple. We have Llama Temple to 8, we have the Kasplat.
Oh, bongos! Barrels to bongos! Could this be Featherbow in the pool?
It could. It absolutely could. Is it? I don't know, but it could. And she's not gonna check it. She's gonna make us wait.
The suspense is gonna kill us.
I know.
But this would explain barrels to freeing Kongs if this ends up being Featherbow.
Oh, and doing this with Twirl is great because this logically requires what? Trombone and handstand and O-stand, both of which we don't have. So if this is a chunky phase item, that might just cull a bunch of our hints.
True. I mean, this could all be for stand. Trombone would be hinted both to lanky and chunky, so maybe it's a terrible path to stand. So if this ends up being like hunky, chunky, or punch, you might. It's hard to tell because you still need the other, and you can't exactly parse out what the other one's going to be. But I guess anything that you know is path to, well, I guess anything lanky and chunky you're still chasing because you need trombone anyway. But yeah, it's going to be hard to tell.
Makes me a little nervous what Kilv's doing here because Kilv hasn't entered caves yet, right? He went in and got the hint, I believe. I could be making that up.
He saw the Kasplat hint. I think he's
he
like
only thinks there's one thing in here hinted so far. He didn't see the second hint, so I'm a little worried about him like getting the item and leaving.
I am too, especially since he did not. Yeah, he didn't even see up on it.
Yes. Oh, there's another item there. That's insane.
Oh, and I was wrong about the bongos. Shockwave. Very interesting. An item you love to see a lot earlier and you hate to see a lot later.
Shockwave is so bad. Shockwave has the same problem that Blast and Mini have, that if it gets hinted late in the seed, you're just like, okay, now I just have to go back to every single level and check all these Shockwaves.
Let me just go find anything and everything.
Stand. That's orange stand for the freaking thing that Violet's about to get. And Kilv doesn't know because he didn't look. Oh yeah, my god, Violet's about to get the item that Kilv just left behind, although Kilv does get this item.
Is that guitar? It's probably guitar.
Alright, we found Punch.
And, Punch, so that is... Yeah,
Shockwave's probably the hinted to chunky item.
Right.
But guitar is good. Who's our helm? Isn't it Lanky's? Who is it?
No, it's DK Diddy, so you do need that guitar.
Okay, so that's Llama Temple to 8 is guitar.
Right.
And the Shockwave to Wasp for the guitar. Yeah, okay. I see what's going on here. So we still... That's a potion that Kilv's about to do.
Yeah, I don't...
VP did see it.
Yeah. Just elected not to do it.
Yeah. And then VP's about to get the O-stand that she just skipped.
Yep. And, well, nice thing is she knows exactly why that O-stand is Wath.
Sure. Yes.
Whereas Kilv is like, oh god, O-stand. Do I have to go back to the forest? Like, Where do I take that?
And the VP's getting punched on the peaked dirt patch. And what do we still have? We still have
Hunky Chunky. We need.
Hunky Chunky, Galleon 5-door ship, and Japes through Forest lobbies are currently not solved to Chunky phase. And I mean, that's good news because that punch is completely in logic. The shockwave was in logic.
Yep, that was simply coconut to blast to using camera for shockwave. Like that whole strain is known. So yeah, the remaining solo chunky hints are all gonna lead to hunky chunky. So I think at this point, like the 3 remaining questions are how do we get key 3? I do think it's probably Igloo. It's you. Oh, I was about to. I was cooking that Igloo with barrels since barrels is path to 3. I was thinking it was Diddy Igloo, but with guitar only being to 8, that kind of rules that out. But at least I'm thinking Igloo might have pineapple for the caverns. Oh, wait, barrels is still solved that way.
Pineapple was in the rocket barrel check, right? Am I making that up? Because they do.
Oh, I guess you're right because
it just must have been a fast minigame that I missed both sides.
Yeah. Okay. That ends up actually destroying my thought about that. So you'd probably go to caverns first, right? To just do the barrel game to see what it is. Or sorry, not the I'm losing the word for it. The cannon game. I'll just do the cannon game.
Punch real quick because you need logical. Okay, it does. Okay, yeah. So the barrel's path to the chunky phase does go through coconut, right? Because
no,
it doesn't. Because to get into Llama Temple, you need Blast, which came from Coconut, and Coconut, which did not come from Barrels. Yes, so Barrels is still path to Chunky phase. You're right.
Right.
So with Caverns... Oh, but you're thinking about Key 3, I understand.
I'm just thinking about Key 3 here. I'm not thinking about Chunky phase quite yet. But yeah, the whole path was diving. We started with. Mini was free. Both those got you Peanuts. Peanut got you Coconut. Coconut got you Blast. Blast gets you Shockwave. Shockwave gets you Punch. So yes, Barrels to Chunky is still not resolved.
And it can't be in Diddy's Igloo because guitar is to 8 and 8 alone.
Right.
Because we're done with key 8 items, right? As far as we know.
Are
we still missing...
because port access, we know where guitar is. We have Rocket Barrel. We have bongos.
Yeah. So key 8's done, which means guitar is hinted to 8 and 8 alone.
Right. Unless we have some weird 2%er, but I think with both DK and Diddy and the items we have, that's not.
Is there an item in the Chigloo?
So yes.
Please look at the Chigloo. Is there something there? That's a potion. No, it's a.
Maybe could it be Kosha Dirt? Shockwave resolving 2 things? I don't know. Part of me thinks that. You need Hunky for that. You need Hunky for that anyway. I'm silly. I mean, with Chunky Phase, Japes Forest do you think maybe Trombone Pad in Japes Forest lobbies gets you another instrument for 5-door ship?
That would make sense. In which case, we just need to go to Helm ASAP.
Yeah, we should just go to Helm.
What's stopping us from going to Helm right now?
Nothing. And in fact, you could just even get yourself up to 64, get Helm completely. Yeah. Well, not if you're Kilvereis. If you're Violet, you can get up to 64, go straight to Helm, just get it out of the way, hint all your instruments, and then hopefully that kind of gives you some direction on where trombone is. Because I do kind of like the idea of trombone pad on aisles to another instrument for Galleon 5-door. So I think that's the path forward, because outside of trombone, our fights right now are Chunky, which we're missing Hunky, which is the thing that we're pushing towards. Lanky, which we need trombone and barrels. We already have barrels, so we're good on that. And then Diddy Phase, which is just Peanuts and Rocket Barrel. We already have that settled. So yeah, I think the play here is go to Helm. Like go to Helm, just unashamedly hint all your instruments, just know where they are, and then work off that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I would not be surprised if Violet's saying, let me just get up to 64. Let me just do Helm right now because I can do it. No reason to go there with only 60. Well, you could go there with 63, I suppose, and just hope that the fairy has 64. And then just solve the rest of the seed with all the information you possibly have. But it looks like she's heading back to Galleon. Maybe she's thinking the 5-door ship might be the first in this line.
So I want to think about the free Kongs real quick. So barrels to free Kongs.
Oh, we still don't
Barrels
have...
is going to get you feather.
That's another... Yeah.
But what's so interesting about that is it gets you chunky. So all of the chunky barrels stuff is useless.
True.
So what has barrels gotten you? Barrels has gotten you twirl, and twirl has gotten you grab. But grab came from feathers, so... Right. Barrels or twirl or candy. But what else did we get from candy? We got 100 things from candy, bro.
Well, we got
By
sprint,
100, I mean 2.
Sprint and bongos.
So we're looking for barrels, twirl, sprint, and bongos. Feather for sure comes from one of those, right?
Yeah, I think it has to at this point. Like, I still don't think anyone's checked Creme Isle.
This is a potion here! Oh my god, it does exist! It's feather, right? It's just feather! How many times? Oh my god, I'm going crazy.
Oh my god!
Oh my dear lord.
Oh my god! You know the
swear
worst
to God,
part?
First it was there, then it wasn't there, then we made it up, then chat made it up, then it was waft, then it wasn't hinted, then the other thing was hinted. What is happening?
You know the worst part? Violet at this point is like, oh my god, Kilv has had this item for hours.
They both think they're playing so bad. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So, seed's done, right? Am I making that up? Seed's done?
No,
Because,
I think it all depends on what the micros say. There is still a wrench that could be thrown, but the most reliable path forward here is you get Chunky Kong. Like there's zero chance you don't get Chunky here. Then you go to Helm, you do your Helm, then you get your micros, and you prioritize Trombone. And I think if you read the hints here, I think it's Trombone Pad to get you another instrument, and that last instrument is what you take to 5-door for Hunky Chunky.
I fully agree with everything you just said.
And with Fairy Camera being path to Chunky Phase, I think that can't be for Trombone. So my guess is that that's tiny 5-door ship, the fairy in there.
Right. I mean, it could be the igloo, the tiny igloo for the fairy.
Do we have a hint for igloo to...
Oh, am I making that up?
I don't think we have one for igloo. Yeah.
Just kidding.
Oh, we still need to confirm key 3 as well. I do think it's probably canon game, but I could be wrong.
Wait, what hint did we just saw? What hint did we just see? What just happened? I'm not paying attention. I'm looking at the hint sheet.
The one that Violet just saw?
Caves, Cranky, Chunky, Wath. Okay, sure.
I mean, if that's a Wath, is that your trombone? Maybe trombone's just there?
Could be.
Because all of our other lanky hints simply point to barrels.
Yeah.
So
Hunky and Tiny 5-door ship, I think, makes sense on the ferry. And I think the seed is done. There's Chunky on the metal.
There's Chunky on the metal. So if I was Violet, I'd be probably just going straight to Helm. Or not. Why do you go back? Oh, maybe you're checking key 3 here. This is actually something I would do. Is you start with your theories, and then if they're wrong, you have all of Helm to think about it. Aztec Lanky for guitar. Kilv might be kicking himself saying, "Oh, Stan for guitar. It was right there."
Oh, Stan, yeah, exactly. That's so funny.
Yeah. And shops and caves, yes. So caves, Cranky Chunky is our trombone, and then I think Violet right now is getting key 3. And then
DK Isles with Tiny for sacks. With Tiny.
With Tiny, that's not what I would have expected.
Oh, is that? Oh, is it the Aztec lobby? So charge was useful all along. Is that what's going on here?
Wait, if charge is useful, that's insane. Because then you have an unhinted surroundings to an unhinted forest interior to a saxophone.
Oh, Aztec lobby was a GB. It's got to be Galleon. Oh, which is also a twirl barrel, and that makes sense. So that's barrels is to whatever phase, the chunky phase, because it gets you twirl.
Okay.
And there's key 3 on the side of Violet, exactly where K-Man predicted it to be.
Yep. So I think, I don't know. We're in soft no mode. I would say. I would say we have a pretty good theory about where everything is. It just sort of depends on when everything gets put together. I think the biggest question mark is just namely where Hunky Chunky is, but I think Galleon Lobby Swim might be.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. Hold on. Because then how is Galleon 5-door ship relevant?
Because we're still looking for Hunky Chunky. Hunky Chunky, Galleon 5-door ship is Hunky Chunky, and then Sax is Galleon Lobby Swim.
Right. Okay. You've caught me up.
VioletPumpkin's doing the right thing. She's checking all her fairies since camera was hinted to Chunky phase.
Yeah, I would be doing this too. Like, I'm struggling even in the commentator's booth to keep everything together. I would be saying like, all right, I know Japes Forest lobbies. Like, let me just clear. Like, there's not a lot of checks, so it's pretty easy to just like breeze through them. Although, like, we do know probably even at this point, it's probably best to just go to Helm, get all the information regardless, and then just work off of that.
We know it's Galleon Lobby Swim because we saw the micro hit on Kilvereis' side, but VP hasn't seen that yet. So checking all those fairies in the lobbies first makes a lot of sense.
They are quick, yes.
Yes. Now, why is Kilvereis doing this check? What is he even looking for here?
I don't know. The funny thing, so I know this is going to be something that I feel like no one's going to have the consistent answer to, but which of the hints was Galleon Candy Lanky on?
All the hints are made up this seed, bro. I don't know the deal anymore.
Because I saw Kilvereis look at his hint sheet, and then like I'm just surprised, unless he's like misreading and he sees just Candy Lanky and thinks, oh, factory, and didn't read Galleon. But like he still hasn't picked up Featherbow, which is absolutely the thing locking him right now.
Right.
Like once he gets Featherbow, he's basically in no mode. But like he just has no track on that whatsoever.
I think Kilvereis might have done the thing I was talking about at the beginning, where you don't start the seed with candy, and so do you bother peeking candy shops when you don't have candy, depending on how far out of the way they are? So if Kilv never looked at the Galleon candy shop, he might not recognize that he hasn't looked there, you know?
Right.
Because it's, especially coming from 3.5, I mean, we've been playing Season 4 for long enough. Like, coming from 3.5, you just always check your shops. You never don't check your shops. So when you get to this point in a seed, you kind of assume you have already looked there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it almost doesn't feel like real checks. It feels like GB grinding when you check shops. But like definitely near the end of the seed here, you're like, I don't care about GBs. I need to progress the seed. So shops are like like it's hard to adjust that way. But I gotta agree that either he read like Galleon candy as like factory candy, because we do know we needed factory candy. Right. Or like he might just be in a state where he thought, oh, I checked that already. It's a shop. And no, turns out he didn't check it, or he just didn't note that at the time, since you didn't have candy, that you could have bought it.
Very nice.
Oh yeah, he's got he's thinking he's back in casino mode for Feather here. Because I don't know
64
what
for Violet at the 2-hour mark.
Yep.
That's Stacks Micro. It's Galleon Lobby Swim. I mean, this seed's wrapped up at this point, I think.
I think we're pretty comfortable in saying that we know it's going to be Galleon Lobby Swim gets you Saxophone. Caves Cranky Chunky just has Trombone. I guess Trombone's just not path to anything but Linky Phase.
Right.
And then the Fairy inside of Galleon 5-door ship for Tiny has Hunky Chunky. And that should be the seed.
And we're still checking bosses on Kilvereis' side. Because, I mean, he's doing the right thing. Given what he knows, he's doing the right thing. Is
right.
Chase barrels.
Yeah, it's just tough. Because, like, especially, like, if you're just not reading. And we've all done it. Like, anyone who says they haven't done it is a liar. We've all done it. We've all misread hints. Right. Or we've all written down a hint the wrong way. Like, it happens. Because I gotta imagine at this point, if you're casinoing, you've made sure that you've gotten every hint door that you possibly can get.
Right. What are we doing in Caves? We're buying Trombone.
Buying Trombone. Caves, Cranky Chunky. I gotta assume that Violet's probably got eyes glued on the race room, thinking at any point Kilv is gonna call time. Just not knowing that how stuck Kilv is right now.
So what happened? Violet was a little late to the Japes coconut hint, which isn't necessarily her fault, right? She didn't have coconut first trip in Japes, and it's like, when you have hints to chase, you know, do you really want to be going out of your way to get more hints? Is it that important? But that really hurt, just not having that lighthouse hint.
I mean,
then
part of it.
Both runners were slow to feather.
Right. Both runners slow to feather. Kilvereis, we've probably said multiple times that missing that blast is really bad, and missing this feather is also super bad. Violet, I think it's a combination of maybe the level order chosen. I don't know if she went to Japes before going to Aztec, or if she didn't steal Coconut from Diddy's Medal before Peanut.
Doing Japes before Aztec is fine, but like when you get to a point where you don't have a clear path forward, you really want to be going and getting those last few hints that you still can get. And in VioletPumpkin's case, that ended up really hurting her.
Yeah, I think part of it is that, and also she's just been super thorough. Like, I don't think she's been leaving any stone unturned here.
Right.
It looks like.
Oh, I was gonna say, is that blue? No, that's definitely purple.
That's saxophone. And I think just being thorough, like I said, story of the tortoise and the hare. Kilv tried to blast through everything, didn't peek everything, ended up in a situation where he's trying to remember, what have I done? What have I not done? Whereas Violet, very thorough, very methodical, making sure to check everything. And like, I think the order that she did stuff in was perfectly fine. It's just sort of like, in comparison to Kilv, who's rushing through everything, it feels like it's super slow and you think there's a mistake there. But I think a lot of it is just being very thorough, making sure you get everything. I understand, like, if you're in a 1v1 versus Kilvereis, that might be the strategy that you want to take, because you know he's going to rush through everything. So you want to make sure, or you want to think that you can find something that that he might miss. And so I think that's just been the strategy. And I think it's just ended up working out because Kilv hasn't been able to find Feather here, and Violet's just been able to methodically get everything that she needs.
I think Kilvereis' playstyle still wins the seed. I think Kilvereis just made mistakes, unfortunately. Kilvereis got to the point where he was chasing Coconut and Peanut, which was correct, but he never went to Coconut Cage because it wasn't on his mind. And if that was on his mind, like, because he was doing the coconut checks, and that is a very, very, very fast coconut check.
Right.
And same with Galleon Candy. Like, he was checking barrel stuff, he was checking candy stuff, but he never went to Galleon Candy, presumably because he already thought it was dead. And so I think Kilvereis' playstyle still works out this seed if he doesn't memory hole those certain checks that ended up having the important items.
Right. I agree with that. I think, especially since I don't think there was anything super unhinted here other than like
Blast went well, I
Blast?
guess because it came from coconuts, so it wasn't
yeah,
casino.
blast is lamp shaded, so that's the hardest part. But other than that, this is just an unfortunate error of hint reading.
Yeah. For sure. All right, now what's the thing with like backflips and chunky phase? Doesn't everybody do that?
Yeah,
Is that the hotness? Are we gonna see it? Or am I gonna be sick?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna be on restream and you don't backflip, that's like cheering when people don't buy the bean in the shop.
They already didn't buy the bean, so I have high hopes for VioletPumpkin here to keep her fingers off the A button.
And there we see it, no backflip, backflipless.
I love it. I am so proud.
Man, you just don't like fun, do you?
Oh, I love fun. I love fun, but my own fun. I love my fun. I love playing DK Rando. Don't you love playing DK Rando?
Yeah, it's a fun game. I guess. If you had to twist my arm. No, but DK Rando is a very fun game. It's part of why I'm here. It's a very fun game to talk about, very fun game to gab about, very fun game to watch. And hopefully that's why everyone else is here too.
Close call from Mr. Kilvereis there.
Yeah.
Crystals on the getting inside here.
Yeah,
I mean, guess we're just doing random medals because we are so lost. It's so hard to see.
Yeah, it's so lost. Just half the screen is your game, half the screen is the race room. Once time is called, you have the GG already entered into chat. Like I gotta. That would be my mindset right now. Is just like when you're lost and you're just like, kind of like how my round 1 went against Kilvereis.
Right.
That was definitely my mindset. Was the moment I knew it was a port casino, I was like, GG is pre-typed in chat. Yeah. I'm gonna just wait till one of us finishes, and then I ain't finishing this seed.
We got one phase left. Who is it? I forget.
Diddy.
It's Diddy. Easy peasy. We're gonna see the fastest lights in the West.
Yeah.
So that charge never ended up coming into play, right?
Well, I mean, it did save you like 6 seconds with that cool tower trick you were talking to me about.
That is true.
So
that was huge.
Yeah. If Kill DNFs within 6 seconds, Violet could believe that she won because of that charge tech. Granted, it took more than 6 seconds to get that charge, but
right. There's a whole red slam and a whole mini game.
Yeah. I think this is the last light.
It's the last light. Get your GGs ready.
Yeah. And that's time.
GG.
A 2:09:28.
Well done.
Well played.
And the instant DNF.
Hey, it was within 6 seconds. That charge making the difference.
Let's get him in here.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting interview. We'll see when either of them are ready to come in for an interview. So yeah, obviously, like, big thing was just finding Blast, finding Featherbow. And we'll see if we can get Violet in here for an interview.
Am I allowed to drag? I'm not a dragger.
I think we gotta wait till they're in one of the.
You a rusher or a dragger? Oh yeah, VP's in there. She's in rabbit races. Ulta save us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Ulta.
VP.
Welcome.
GG's.
GG.
GG's.
Give us a little bit of a rundown of that seed. How do you think things went? What were the positives you think, and what were the things that didn't go so well?
Well, for the first hour and a half, I thought I was a bit of a train wreck. I was making plenty of execution mistakes, but and the early castle routes that I was not too happy about how that went, but it might have paid off in the end because I'm guessing peeking candy was a big benefit for me in this one.
Candy where? In Galleon?
In the castle boss.
The castle boss.
Oh, peeking the actual person candy. Yes, that was
Right,
massive.
right.
Yes, Kilv didn't know about that candy for a long time.
Yeah, and the hint in caves with that was just really rude.
Yeah, it was.
Sends you right back.
So
yeah,
I did have a question. I was a little curious about Galleon candy. What happened there? Because honestly, I didn't know what was going on. Came in, didn't know what was going on. Chad didn't know what was going on. Why neither runner checked that for a very long time. Was that on your mind?
It was always on my mind, but yeah, I just
had better
I don't know.
things to do.
I was so convinced that Feather was on Aztec Boss, and then I was just like, well, all these other potions on the shops didn't really pay off for me, so maybe this one wouldn't either. I'd rather like peek the really fast checks in caves or something.
First off, can you just confirm for us, was it the Galleon Lanky shop hinted Wath, or was it a different candy shop that was hinted Wath?
It was the factory candy shop, which had yeah.
I think that makes a lot more sense because once you and Kilv got candy, that was one of the first levels you both went into. People are saying that Galleon candy Lanky was hinted Wath, and that's where we were like really confused because it did take both of you a while to go to that shop, and that shop just ended up like that was ultimately how you needed to get chunky.
And Kilvereis never found it, the shop, because he didn't peek it first trip in Galleon because he didn't have candy, and then never went back, unfortunately.
That is too bad.
Yeah. What was your plan in the early game? Because one of the things that we noticed is that you played super thoroughly. So what was your plan in the early game being so thorough?
So yeah, these sorts of seeds where you have 6 out of 7 levels open basically instantly are really hard. And yeah, so I had gotten a few half medals in forest, so I really wanted to finish those, I guess. That was the main reasoning there, and I just left forest half finished in general, and like when you have nothing for so long and like diving plus grape, I kind of thought like forest tiny metal might have had something, and yeah, I wasn't really too convinced that Aztec boss Wath was the thing. I do think if I played the seed again, I probably would have played it a little differently. I realized a bit into it that I really needed to push the hints a little better.
I think that was kind of one of the things that we were really fearful for you, is that you didn't have the massive lighthouse hint that Kilv had pretty early. And so you were missing barrels for a very long time, and we were really afraid when you went back into Japes to get the colored bananas, we were worried that you might not get that hint again.
Yeah, well, when I saw that, I thought for sure it was over.
Right, because that unlocked the whole seed for you.
Exactly.
One of the things we were really excited about was you got the red slam early that Kilv didn't have, and we were hoping to see that was going to come into play.
And it did get Chimpy Charge, and that got you nothing.
Didn't get you anything.
Exactly.
Well, congratulations. You're moving on to round 3 of the Blitz Tournament. That is top 4. Well done.
Thank you.
Congrats. I think
knocking out the
that's-
Season 3 champion.
I think that next match is going to be the winner of Little King and Charles.
Oh, good luck.
That's going to
Yeah,
be a fun match, I'm sure.
Either way, it's going to be a very hard match to win. I mean, all of the matches in this Blitz tournament are challenges. There's no weak opponents here.
We've beat
Right.
tougher opponents before.
All right.
True.
I don't know if you have any last minute shout outs you want to give or just anything you want to quickly mention.
Just shout outs to the Race Mod and Restream and Commentator team. Thank you so much for putting all this on. It's the work does not go unnoticed.
Agree.
Sure.
Yep, and I guess that's about it.
Awesome. Well, we will try to figure out. I guess there is maybe. Are we gonna raid someone for the next match? We will raid the next match. I am reading that message out loud right on stream. What are we doing about that? But I guess we can start giving out some outros here. My name is K-Man. It was wonderful to calm the race. It was a lot of fun to watch. And any outro you want to do, Mumbo?
Yeah, that was me. I had a good time. Thanks, guys.